your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Congress votes to fund Homeland Security and end the record 75-day partial government shutdown. The measure heads to President Trump for his signature. CBS's Nicole Skanga.
The pressure was really mounting, especially ahead of a congressional recess, for lawmakers to get something done. It wasn't just long TSA lines at the airports, but it was the concern about really not being equipped to secure the homeland and all of the 260,000 DHS employees who would suffer as a result.
California gas prices are now at $6 a gallon amid high fuel costs over the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. CBS's Allison Keyes reports.
In Detroit, people like this man who drive for a living are telling tales of woe as gas stations are raising prices nearly daily.
I usually stop for gas about 3 times a day, usually about $30 each.
In Philadelphia,
just painful.
Drivers say the prices are pinching the pocket of everyone, especially the working class.
I'm working to pay the gas pretty much at this time. It's killing me.
Some say they're cutting back on groceries because they must drive for work. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth spends a second day on Capitol Hill, this time defending the Pentagon's record $1.5 trillion budget request before the Senate Armed Services Committee.
The president's budget request reflects the urgency of the moment, addressing both the deferment of long-standing problems as well as positioning our forces for the current and future fights.
During his opening remarks, a protester interrupted him, shouting that he is a war criminal who should be arrested. The first commercial U.S. flight to Venezuela in years departed today from Miami, according to CBS's Cammie McCormick.
The nonstop flight comes 7 years after the Department of Homeland Security suspended flights over safety concerns and follows the U.S. reopening its embassy in Caracas and restoring full diplomatic relations. Among the passengers, diplomats and business people.
We're really trying to open that door and create an environment where Americans and American businesses can cooperate with the Venezuelans.
It was an American Airlines flight. American was the last U.S. airline flying to Venezuela before flights were suspended.
Camp Mystic drops a summer reopening plan over outrage by families and Texas lawmakers. The camp in Texas Hill Country says the camp leaders want to give families of those who died there in last year's July 4th flooding more time to grieve. The decision comes after days of pointed questioning by Texas lawmakers investigating camp officials' response to the devastating flood. Stocks are up on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
It might take time to think. They might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Thousands plan to take to Seattle streets tomorrow. More on that straight ahead. But first, your traffic brought to you by your Seattle Mariners. Linwood to Seattle continues to struggle this afternoon, taking about a half hour. It's a 10-minute delay. Still got a pretty hefty backup through Northgate into the U District, and you'll clear out about mid-span on the Ship Canal Bridge. I would jog over to Highway 99 if you can. That is wide open in the downtown Seattle. 20 minutes on North 5 through downtown Seattle. Nothing out of the ordinary here. You got that backup from the West Seattle Bridge just past I-90, and again from just past Mercer to the Ship Canal Bridge. South 405, we're seeing scattered slowing between Canyon Park and Kirkland. About a 10-minute delay from Linwood to Bellevue. And in South Center, northbound 405 at the West Valley Highway, roadwork blocks 2 right lanes. You're backed up to I-5. Randy Johnson number retirement ceremony night presented by T-Mobile is Saturday, May 2nd. Get your tickets at Mariners.com.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. Thousands of May Day marchers plan to hit the streets tomorrow across Washington. The Seattle Times reports rallies are planned in Seattle, Vancouver, and Yakima. Seattle's kicks off at noon at Cal Anderson Park on Capitol Hill. Organizer Melissa Rubio says the big focus this year is sending a clear message against ICE and what she calls the Trump administration's quote-unquote massive deportation machine. More than 1,000 people turned out in Seattle last year. Governor Bob Ferguson has agreed to pay a fine to settle an ethics investigation. Details from KIRO News Radio's Manda Factor.
Governor Ferguson will pay a $4,000 fine for inviting a former aide to fly with him on a state plane last year. The state ethics board found Ferguson gave a special benefit to Mike Webb by bringing him on a trip to the Tri-Cities last June. Webb was not a state employee. He had resigned after allegations he created a hostile workplace for women in the governor's office. Ferguson called the decision to invite Webb, quote, pretty stupid during a staff meeting. The board is expected to vote on that settlement next week. Manda Factor, KIRO News Radio.
The number of young people injured by guns has plummeted under a King County health program that emphasizes community intervention.
Incidents involving firearm injuries involving young people have now dropped below pre-pandemic rates.
Luthra Lish is director of the the County Office of Gun Violence Prevention. She says in Kent alone, program managers say youth firearm injuries have dropped 32% since 2023. Well, plans are moving forward in Everett for a new stadium for the Aqua Sox, replacing Funco Field. KIRO 7's Dee Sun reports on last night's key city council vote.
The city council passed a budget with more money for a new stadium. The total cost of the project is now $120 million. KIRO 7 was there last night as city council voted 6-1 to approve an additional $10.6 million.
Construction for the new Everett Outdoor Event Center should begin later this year, with the stadium opening in the fall of 2027. And now your KIRO News Radio weather looking good. Partly cloudy the next couple days. Low 70s for the high right through Saturday, and then closer to 80 on Sunday. 64 and partly cloudy over downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome to the show. Happy Thursday to all of you. Jake Skorheim sitting right alongside.
Take two.
Spike O'Neill is right here.
Hey,
sitting right alongside
just
Spike O'Neill.
Just brush your teeth, can't do a thing with them, right?
You know what it is?
I hate when I do that.
I had too much coffee, and now I'm all jittery up and excited to go.
Do it.
We have just a fantastic show ahead for you guys. We literally don't have enough time. We've had to make changes last minute because there's new stuff that's interesting, more interesting than what we had planned, which is always our goal, is to get interesting stuff in that you guys are going to love. So we will bring all of that to you. At 12:30, we're going to talk a little bit about the Seahawks. There's a couple potential big, giant tech names.
names are floating now.
That are
finally
considering the team.
Floating, yeah.
Three in particular that we're going to talk about, and then we can discuss what I'd love to decide with you guys, the audience, and with us here, which of these we would prefer. Not that we have a say, but it would be nice if we liked the owner of the team. Don't you think? If we
it's imperative. Well, what kind of guy are we, or lady, excuse me, what kind of individual are we talking about? The ownership matters so much.
We've been spoiled with Paul Allen.
So much.
So spoiled because
You're old enough to remember Ken Behring.
You know what? Honestly, I'm not.
Oh.
I didn't remember that Ken Behring owned that. I'm sure that I was alive during that time.
Yeah.
Allen purchased him in what, 97?
Yeah, 97. So
Okay.
Behring was the 90s, essentially.
Okay.
Bought him from the Nordstrom family.
So I wasn't really fully aware of what was happening in the world yet. My surroundings were still pretty small. But I remember Allen because he was a phenomenal owner.
Well, there was the, is the team going to stay moment.
There you go.
Paul came in and saved football for Seattle.
Yes. So I'd love to talk about that. We have some great audio from the potential owners that is going to, well, it's going to make you laugh very loud.
Oh, comedians. I love comedians.
You're not going to want to miss that at 12:30. So tune in for that. All right. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's get right to it. First things first, I want to get into this. Seattle Public Schools has made an announcement that they have this new cell phone policy, which I think is a good policy, although I don't think it goes far enough. And I'd love to get your take on this, Spike.
Cool. First off, let's compliment Seattle Public Schools and for making the move, for listening to the show.
For doing something.
Last week when we talked about how can we not have a policy, they clearly listened. No, I'm kidding. It was already in the works. Been in the works for a while.
I don't know. I think we could take credit.
Okay.
Let's take credit.
They've announced it's starting Monday. They've got a policy in place for cell phone use in public schools in Seattle.
Yeah.
And it's going to graduate, if I may borrow the phrase, elementary and middle schools. Stricter than high schools.
And this is the problem. This is where I don't think they go far enough.
Okay.
And I actually wrote an article about this. And by the way, thank you guys all so much. We got a lot of clicks on this yesterday. #1 on the site. Very happy about it because, again, in my competition against Charlie Harger and his dominance from the Seattle Morning News, I love the guy, but I'm being half joking. If you want to read this article, I'd love for you to have it and so you can share it with people. All the details are in it. If you text phone to 888-973-5476, phone to 888-973-5476. I wrote about this today, And where I think Seattle Public Schools does not go far enough. Again, elementary, middle schools, total ban, bell to bell. But with the high school age kids, it's only during class. You can still have the phones in the hallways, in between classes, and at lunch.
Right.
And to me, I feel like those are the times in high school. Like, I remember taking classes, and I remember teachers, and that doesn't seem to me to be a very high bar to say you can't have your phones out in class. I assume that was already the case.
I would hope that was, me too. I would hope that's already the case.
We weren't allowed to wear hats in class when I was in high school.
We had to wear helmets. Special school.
Oh, you had to wear helmets.
Sorry. I'm kidding. That was a horribly tasteless joke.
No, it's not.
But this, and the fact, what the policy they've instituted starting Monday, Seattle Public Schools, I think it doesn't do, not just doesn't do nearly enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't give the teachers and the administrations the support they need to enforce this.
The teeth.
Right, the teeth to make it happen, make it real.
Yeah.
I don't think, unless there's details that haven't been released yet that we don't know about yet.
I give this example in this article that I wrote. Again, you can text phone to 888-973-5476. I'm going to be shameless about this for a second, guys.
Do it.
Phone to 888-973-5476.
There's a gift card for number one, isn't there?
There's not a gift card. No, not a gift card.
Okay.
I have no personal benefit other than bragging rights. Phone 888-973-5476. When I was in high school, we had a smoking shack for students on campus. Now, it was no longer in use.
A tiny village? No, I'm sorry. That's terrible. Go on.
So it was no longer in use. It was a relic of times past. Because I went to
it was from my era.
It was from your era. It was from the 1970s and 80s.
We had a smoking section at my high school.
You probably had a smoking section where students, in between classes, would go out and smoke cigarettes.
Yep.
Now, that shack was still on campus when we were there. It was no longer used to smoke. It was then just a place where kids would go and they would have, they could be social and, if it was raining or something, they could go and stand under there. But there was a no smoking sign that got put up on the smoking shack. And I do wonder if we're at this weird inflection point right now with cell phones where someday those no smoking signs, which I don't know if you even talk to kids these days, what their thoughts on smoking are. I don't do it. I'd never see people smoking anymore. I'm always kind of shocked when I do see people smoking because it's, boy, has it really gone away?
Sure, yeah, as it should.
As it should. It's very bad for your health. There's a lot of studies. I'm wondering if we're at that just before the realization on the cell phones. I feel like there's a lot of studies. There's a lot of people who have already done research into this.
Yeah.
And I think at a certain point we will look back and go like, you remember when we used to let kids walk around glued to their phones and not actually interacting with each other or growing their brains, but instead like staring at screens and having no social lives? As a cautionary remembrance relic of the past. Like, we're living in that moment right now. And I think someday in the future, hopefully not too long from now, I mean, this is a hopeful future I'm talking about, where on school campuses they have said just no phones, just like the no smoking signs, no cell phone signs for kids.
With regard to schools, I think that not socially. I mean, it's not like you get your news from a cigarette or you communicate with your friends and family via cigarettes. So, I mean, I really think this is the last generation. The last person to ever pick up a cigarette has already picked it up.
You think so?
I genuinely believe that. I think the uses has diminished gradually over time as awareness became public about how dangerous and deadly they are.
Yeah. I mean, it was ingrained into my head growing up so much so that I've never smoked a cigarette in my life.
And when I was born, 4 out of 5 doctors surveyed recommend Camel cigarettes for their, I mean, seriously.
They passed it out in the waiting room for the dads as they were waiting for the moms to have babies.
That's not a joke. They issued cigarettes to soldiers because it calmed the nerves of our combat soldiers.
Sure.
I mean, but we became aware. And that was the whole thing about cigarettes, was that the industry kind of knew, and there was evidence and trials and settlements, the whole 9 yards.
Sure.
I think you're right about the harmful effects of phones.
Sure.
We put this transmitter right next to our brain.
And next to something else in our pocket.
Yeah, down in our pocket. Right. Right.
Wait for that to come
around.
The
produce section.
Maybe that's what it's going to
always saying Brady. And we don't know yet. We still don't know. There's not enough research, not enough body of evidence to let us know just how dangerous and harmful this can be. But my point is that these phones have become so ingrained in who we are as a species, our culture, our society, how we process information, how we get our jobs done, how we live day to day.
Sure.
The phones have become integral. They're almost a human organ.
100%. They're attached to people all the time.
But with regard to school campuses and how we keep, it used to be you could smoke on campus. Maybe I hope you're so right. I love that insight. Maybe there'll be a day when, can you imagine, you believe there was a time we let kids bring those things to school?
That's what it feels like. As a parent, when I look at, so like we've talked about this many times, but we have made the decision for my sons. They're not going to have a phone until they're adults and they can make that decision for themselves. When I say adults, 18. If they want to get a phone at 18, I'm not going to stop them. I would have the same cautions with them if they decided to be cigarette smokers someday. I would say, hey, you know what? Boy, that's really bad for you. I'm not going to stop you because you're an adult and this is your life now, but they're really bad for you. And the same thing with cell phones.
Yeah.
And what I'm worried about, though, is there has to be a point at which that's a more widely accepted idea. And I really do feel like it is picking up steam, and a lot more people are jumping on that bandwagon, being like, yeah, this is really awful, these stupid phones. We all know it and we feel it. Like when you go anywhere, like recently, okay, so here's a good example. Do you ever have times in your day where you will purposefully set your phone down, set it away, turn it into airplane mode?
Yes.
Yes.
Just, leave it in the other room.
And why do you
away.
choose to do that? Because I know why I do.
Because I have terrible self-control. And I can't stop myself from grabbing. It's second nature now. Fear of missing out is now second nature.
And it's addictive.
Yeah.
It's giving you that little dopamine pop every single time you pick it up. You touch the screen. Did I get an email? Did I get a text messages? All that stuff. And how do you feel when you don't have it with you? Like after you've shaken off like the shakes?
Yeah,
like
after withdrawals?
Yes.
Which last brief
it's fast.
It's fast.
It's not as bad as cigarettes, but it's still a thing.
It's funny you say that because we have family in town, as we often do. But I'm spending time and communicating with them, and to sit there with family that don't live here, that made the trip to Seattle, that live thousands of miles away. To sit there next to them on my phone seems like the biggest insult. I can't, and I caught myself doing it, so I made sure I put my phone away.
You had your phone on. You were looking at your phone while they were in the room.
Yeah, and as were they. And I went and put my phone away and started engaging. And now it's been about a week. And I hope to do this more often.
Sure.
I want to engage with people. I want to engage with my family. It's not just because there's family in town. When we have dinner,
your wife and kids.
No one's holding their phone at the table.
Yeah.
Nobody. That seems like the least. I mean, I cook at my house. I cook. I do all the cooking.
Yep.
I spend all this time shopping, cooking, preparing, serving. Boom. The last thing I want to do is look up and see you looking at your phone.
100%.
I mean, I ask for so little of my kids, my spouse, my in-laws, whatever it may be.
Have you watched that show on Paramount Plus yet called The Madison? It's with Michelle Pfeiffer, who looks fantastic. By the way.
It's one of the.
I don't know how old she is, but she's aging very well.
It's one of, what's his name?
Taylor Sheridan.
Yes, it's Taylor Sheridan. I've seen trailers for it.
So in the opening episode, I'm not going to spoil the show, but in the opening episode, she's having dinner in New York with her 2 daughters and then their kids and husbands, and they're all sitting at the table. Michelle Pfeiffer's kind of drinking a glass of wine, watching her family because she's of a different generation. Obviously, she's watching her kids and grandkids all stare at their phones as they're sitting in this restaurant. She's just kind of eyeing them angrily, and finally she just goes. Slaps the table. Yeah. She goes, it's rude. You're being rude. And they're like, rude to who? She goes, you're being rude to me. You're being rude to the staff. You're being rude to everyone. You're staring at your phones. And then she gets up, goes to the bathroom. And she's like, quit it. And Taylor Sheridan's really good at communicating like very zeitgeisty, real feeling ideas that people are having.
And bringing those into theatrical or structured conversations that we can relate to our lives. Yeah.
There's this idea, just like you were talking about with your family in town. There's this idea about, I heard this the other day, and maybe we already talked about it, but when you're in the room with somebody, there's a silver cord idea, this like silver thread that connects you to somebody else. And the second you pick up your phone, you sever that thread, and it's gone.
Well, it's eye contact.
And you've wasted the opportunity to have a real connection with that person.
Yep.
And now what I'm seeing, like, it's good the Seattle Public Schools have done this, but they need to do it also because those are the times you're making those memories. All of my memories in high school are on the baseball field. I played baseball.
No, I love where you're going.
All my memories in high school are happening between classes.
Yeah,
all
totally.
of them.
That's what socialization skills are. That's what they give you. That's where you develop them.
That's where
in
you're
the hallways,
seeing that
at the
girl
lunchroom.
from a distance, and you're thinking like, how do I get up close to her and say hi?
You text her.
Well,
I know.
These are vital things, though, that people are losing the ability to do. And all of my great memories of high school have nothing to do. And I thank God that we didn't grow up in an era with phones. And I'm thinking, like, down the road, when my oldest son is 11, he's going to be in high school in 5 years.
Yeah.
What's that going to look like when he's trying to have conversations with all his friends and they're all staring at their phones?
I'm with you. Is it an impossible wish for me, for my kids, to grow up in an era that I grew up in where this phone was not a distraction, it's an ingrained distraction that's impossible to escape.
We can't turn back time, obviously.
Right. So, when I say you guys need to, is it impossible to ask high schoolers not to be on their phones from literally bell to bell?
No, not at all. 28 other states have done it. Washington State does not do it. And so it's just simply a matter of doing it. Perfect real world example of not just kids needing these hard rules. Adults, the Masters, which they just had, the Masters at Augusta.
Right.
If you go back and look at any of the video, you watched it, I watched it, phenomenal. What do you notice in the background? Not a single spectator had their phone out. And you want to know why? Because the Masters said you can't have any screens, you can't have any iWatches, you can't have any tablets, you can't have anything on the course. And if you do, we're going to tap you on the shoulder and invite you to leave. Now, these are very, very hard tickets to get. So the people who are there, they really want to be there. And the last thing they want to do is break those rules. And so the Masters said, we're going to just say no cell phones. So these people were forced to be there and have a present moment, which is what it feels like when you don't have these stupid phones out. Like you and I are having a great conversation right now.
Look it in your eyes.
If one of us pulled a phone out, whoosh, gone. And the Masters, they did this. They said, you can't have phones because we want to have they called it a throwback environment to what it used to feel like to be somewhere and to watch something. You can tell that story. You can see Scotty Scheffler hit a ball. You can see whoever hit a ball, and you're going to tell your kids about it. You may not have it on your phone,
right?
Which is the instant
you may not record it.
Yeah, you're going to record it.
Don't live life, record life, so you can live it later.
You can enjoy it on the cloud later
through a phone screen instead of being standing there next to a tee box.
Which is what they say these days that most young people are doing. They say they're doing delayed gratification. They're not enjoying the moment now. They're saving the moment to watch later. When you're laying on the couch at night under the blue glow of that screen, having no personal connections and just staring at these things, and it's just. I think they can do more, and I think you can ban it for high schoolers because we can still tell them what to do. They're still kids.
The story we're quoting today is there's a nice write-up in the Seattle Times today. They quote a teacher in the article, and they didn't name her. Maybe they did, but she's also she's an educator and a parent of a Seattle Public School student.
Yeah,
and she cited a study, and she didn't name the study, but she cited a study. So I'm going to try to look for it. Says on average, it's been researched that it takes a young mind 20 minutes to refocus after using a screen.
Oh.
So if you're talking about a 5-minute break between periods when kids are allowed to use their phones, then you get in the classroom, and this is a teacher citing this concern. So you're telling me that for the next 15 minutes, I got to let these little brains resettle and unscramble? And I've already the shortened window of my class time.
Yeah.
I'm losing 15 minutes of it because the average, and this is a study that says it takes 20 minutes after a screen. I
totally believe that.
I have no problem believing that.
Try falling asleep while looking at your phone. It's nearly impossible because your brain is just scrambling, doing all that stuff.
And that's why there's so many products now with the blue screens and the blue lenses and glasses or whatever.
You got to wear like Tony Stark glasses.
Right, and good advice is to stop, 45 minutes or longer before you want to sleep to give your brain a chance to, hey, guys, it's time. I mean, your body has eons of evolutionary guidelines to say, it's not time to sleep yet. It's not time to sleep. It's not time to sleep. And when you put a screen in front of your eyes, you're telling your brain to be active, be excited, be
awake,
problem solve.
Yeah.
All the things that your brain is.
Be distracted. Yeah. It's just being distracted. So I think that study's right on. And more evidence. You have more evidence. So just like the no smoking,
right.
No cell phones.
So the schools, the Seattle Public Schools superintendent says that the reason they didn't use this for the high school students and limit it only to elementary and middle schools is because so many schools have open campuses. And you really can't. You can't tell kids they can't have a phone from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon or whatever the time constraints are because they got open campuses and they can leave school, and they will leave school if it's the only chance they have to use their phone, and there's safety concerns, and there's clubs that meet at school, and there's all these different reasons, all rationales.
If you're on campus, there's no reason why you can't have that phone put away. Well, I don't see the
That's the other thing. And maybe there's more information that wasn't in this initial announcement. Do teachers have supplies? Do they have like a lockbox? Do they have those sleeves that some school districts have sleeves that are transmission proof that you put your phone in at the beginning of the day?
Do what they do with the Masters. You see a kid on their phone, you tap them on the shoulder, that phone's gone, you can have it after school.
There you go.
I mean, it seems that simple.
And these new guidelines have exemptions for medical exemptions, but smartwatches aren't covered in this.
Yeah, they should also cover that. Yeah.
What kid's not going to have an Apple Watch by September?
100%. All right, go read that article. Text it right now. Text phone to 888-973-5476. We'll send you my latest. I do appreciate you guys texting those in and reading it. That's awesome. All right, we got a lot more coming up. A couple of prospective Seahawks new owners are now on the board. One of them has one of the funniest audio clips that you will ever hear about a guy who might own a team like the Seahawks. I'm going to play it for you, and we can laugh together. Stick around. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Charlie Hart.
And I'm Amanda Factor. Will we set another all-time record overnight?
We'll have the latest on how the war in Iran is affecting the price at the pump.
Mariners back home after a very successful road trip back to 500.
Henrik Riz joins us with a preview of the series against the Royals.
Paul Holden has your weekend planner.
And Sully with traffic every 10 minutes.
Join us tomorrow, 5 to 9 on Seattle's Morning News.
We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Well, we made it through the rainy season. I hope your home came through unscathed. Maybe you got a little leak that you want to have addressed. Maybe you don't even know. And that'd be a great time to call Integrity Roofing and Construction and schedule a free inspection, a free roof assessment, a video inspection. Costs nothing, there's no obligation, of course. They will take a look at what you've got. They've got complete restoration capabilities, design team on staff, roof repairs. They can do it all for you. They do incredible work. The reviews are on their website, integrityrc.com. There's hundreds and hundreds, including mine. They took great care of my home. 206-202-ROOF is the number, or they're online at integrityrc.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. We're here to help you achieve total wellness at home. Right now, save up to $2,800 on a saltwater hot spring spa for fabulous healthy soaks. Or save up to $12,000 on an endless pool swim spa and turn your backyard into a year-round swim oasis. These massive savings end April 30th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub. If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all. Sound like your home? Then call for your free inspection.
InsulationNorthwest.com.
Looking for lumber with a story? Then you've got to check out the new Earthwise Salvage Lumber Warehouse in Soto. Be the first to get your hands on reclaimed lumber with original character and local history. Their warehouse is packed with new inventory now, but when this wood is gone, it's gone. So act fast. Come visit the Salvage Lumber Warehouse for the grand opening on May 2nd from 11 to 3 in Soto. And remember, this lumber is harvested from structures, not forests. Find them at ewsalvage.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. A Superior Court judge has temporarily blocked a new state law that would have compelled county sheriffs to agree to a state-mandated code of conduct or face removal from office. The ruling comes in response to a lawsuit filed by 4 Eastern Washington sheriffs, including Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles.
I fear that the Senate and the House are willingly stepping into dangerous constitutional waters.
The injunction came yesterday. The law was set to kick in today. The trial of Ashton LaFall got underway this morning at the King County Courthouse. He is accused of killing beloved business owner Devon Pickett Jr. in the Central District in 2022. James Lynch is covering the trial, and he has this report.
The proceeding is what's known as a bench trial, at issue for the judge to decide whether LaFall is competent to stand trial for the murder. He was initially found incompetent. His competency was later restored, but is now being challenged again. Defense attorney Brian Beatty.
He thinks that judges and prosecutors don't really exist, that this is a trick set up by God.
Prosecutor John Castleton.
You can have schizophrenia and still be competent. You can have mental illness and still lie. Find him competent.
The trial is expected to continue into next week. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Firefighters in Graham battled a huge fire with explosions at a wrecking yard last night. Flames were first reported at the property off Highway 161 just after 10:30 p.m. Crews had to battle flames shooting from several stacks of unprocessed vehicles at the yard, along with ongoing explosions. It took 12 different fire units working through the night to get it under control at about 3 this morning. The cause is under investigation. Another day of sky-high prices at the gas pump. We've set a new record high this morning for Washington State. KIRO News Radio's John Repp has a closer look.
Gas prices around the state have never topped $5.57 a gallon before until this morning. AAA Washington has been tracking the steady climb around the state and in the Puget Sound region where we set a record yesterday. The price this morning? Once again, a record breaker locally for regular unleaded $5.77. Some national context, the only states with higher gas prices are Hawaii and California. In California, they've eclipsed the $6 mark. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
Hey, look at Wall Street. The S&P 500 sets a new intraday record high today. In fact, right now, NASDAQ up over 200 points. The Dow up 770. S&P 500 up 65. And now your KIRO News Radio traffic. South 5 into Seattle. Stop and go from Northgate into downtown. We're back to a normal 20-minute drive from Linwood into Seattle. North 5 is really thick now from the West Seattle Bridge just past I-90. And then again, bumper to bumper from Mercer to the Ship Canal Bridge. We're up to a 25-minute drive to get through downtown. Through Renton, South 405, you're crowded from Northeast 44th into the S-curves, and through South Center, road work has cleared North 405 at the West Valley Highway. And to check out your weather, partly cloudy and low 70s this afternoon. A little more clouds Friday, but warm temps continue, and we're pushing 80 by Sunday. Filtered sunshine and 69 in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. If you're not listening to the podcast, you're not watching on YouTube, you guys are missing out. You got to check us out. Go to youtube.com, search KIRO 97.3 FM. Jake and Spike Show Live is going to pop up. I got a new article out I want you guys to check out. Text phone to 888-973-5476. It's on cell phones and all that stuff. It's fun stuff. But right now we're talking about Seahawks. The Seahawks made the announcement. Was this 3 weeks after they won the Super Bowl? Is that when this happened?
February, about less than 2.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Really close after.
Yeah, right on the heels of the...
Listen,
just step back a moment, week of Super Bowl, there was a story leaked to the media somehow that the Seahawks were in violation of the NFL's requirement that the Paul Allen estate?
Yep.
The Allen Group, whatever the terminology, the correct terminology is, was required by Paul Allen's directive to sell the Seahawks, and the league was announced that the team hadn't met that timeline threshold.
Mhm.
That came out the week of the Super Bowl. So within a week, it was saying, okay, team's going up for sale. We're officially putting the team up for sale.
And that was clearly, somebody put that out as a distraction.
Right.
And then I think the Seahawks responded saying, like, hey, we're focused on football right now. We're not talking about any of this stuff. As you should. Yeah. And then they took care of business. Great stuff. So here's the thing. If you're going to sell a football team, if you're going to sell a franchise, you want to do it right after you won everything.
Top value.
Best time to do it. It's like selling your house in the middle of summer. Why would you sell it in the middle of winter? So we were wondering, though, who is going to be possibly considering buying this team, because it's going to be a very expensive franchise. In fact, according to Adam Schefter, ESPN, he's saying it could set a record for a sports franchise, not just a NFL's franchise, but a sports franchise.
Wow.
The current record was set by the Lakers when they sold last year, originally owned by the Buss family. They're now a minority owner in it. Jeannie Buss is like her dad passed, but she's now a 15% owner in the team. They sold for $10 billion. So the Seahawks could go for north of $10 billion, which is crazy, but makes sense. And
well, if the state buys it, they can spend 10, but end up costing us 30.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
All things are escalating in value. I mean, Allen bought the team for under $200 million, I think, back in '97. Now it's worth
$194 million.
Right, and now it's going to be 6 to 8 to 10, depending upon which. It was valued at $6.8 million or $6.08 million back in the fall. But after winning another Super Bowl and having this fan base, what it has, and the lease we have, and the stadium
you have one of the best, most exciting quarterbacks in the game.
Youngest exciting coach in the league.
Youngest exciting coach in the game.
Executive of the year.
Best wide receiver in the game. Lockdown.
Yeah, and you've got Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Montana, and the Great Northwest. All the Great Northwest.
Thirsty surrounding states who want to be part of the fan base. I mean, it's like, it makes sense that it is possibly going to be the most expensive franchise of all time. And that puts you into a category of like, well, who can afford
rare air
$10 billion plus for a team? And there's a couple of guys who could do that. One of them, two new names are floating today, and then I saw another one yesterday. So I guess we're at 3 names right now.
Well, there are, according to this, is an article from, is it Front Office Sports? Is that
Front Office Sports? I saw it over on the 710 Seattle Sports.
There's a 710 initially the report that there were these 2 names were surfaced.
Mark Zuckerberg and Tim Cook. Now, Mark Zuckerberg is obviously very well known. He can buy anything he wants. He's oftentimes one of the top 3 richest people in the world. I think he's worth north of $200 billion now.
Yeah, it probably fluctuates daily.
So this is literally a day where stocks are a little good for him. He has the extra money to purchase a team like this. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's how much fluctuation in his
one day.
One day, yeah.
Which is insane.
Yep.
The other guy that they're talking about, not just Zuckerberg, the other guy they're talking about is Tim Cook, who's interesting because he just announced that he's stepping down from Apple.
Right. After 15 years running Apple, he's stepping down.
After 15 years. And Apple has increased their value. He's done tremendous work for Apple. He's done a good job for them. Their market, whatever.
$4 trillion, I think they're worth now, under his tutelage of 15 years.
Yep.
I mean, he knows how to run a business.
He knows how to run a business, but he doesn't have the net worth. I was surprised at this. His net worth is less than $3 billion. So it would mean that Tim Cook would need to be the top guy in or the face of a group.
An ownership group.
And
a primary owner only has to own 30% of the team.
Okay.
According to league rules, you can have as many as 25 owners.
Because they're expensive.
Ownership groups on a team. They cap it at 25 individuals or part of ownership groups.
Yep.
I mean, because you hear all the time about guys being part owners of this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
Whether it's an NBA, WNBA, NFL franchise, you got guys who bought their way in. John Elway's a part owner of the Broncos, right?
Yep, 100%.
So
Jeannie Buss, she owns 15% of the Lakers.
So Tim Cook could be the guy.
He could.
He could easily put the kind of money together and the kind of group together where he's got an interest in the team.
He's got a good name recognition. People trust him on his business sense. Yeah. So they'd say, yeah, I could get behind that. But again, he can't just write a check. Zuckerberg could literally tomorrow wake up and go, hey, you know what? I might buy the Seahawks today, and just do it.
Well, and also keep in mind, all ownership is subjected to NFL review.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the other owners sign off on you being in one of their private little group, private little club.
Yes. Now Zuckerberg would be interesting because there's no negotiating that has to happen. Seahawks could come up with whatever number, he would just pay it.
Sure.
Tim Cook has those other things that we just talked about, which could be an issue, but probably not. I mean, he could put the funding together. Did you hear this other name though? Steve Ballmer. Did you hear that name?
I hadn't heard that one yet.
Okay. Steve Ballmer, according to this one source, is, and he has, according to Polymarket, which is a futures betting market, there's a 45% chance that Steve Ballmer is the next owner of the Seahawks.
Is he the front-running name at that market? 45%?
I would say right now, 45%, he would be the favorite to buy the team because he has local connections.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
He also has current connections to Jody Allen, who is the steward. She's basically she's managing the estate of her late brother. Steve Ballmer has a net worth. He's worth $134 billion. He's owned sports franchises. He's got the Clippers, so he already knows that world. And the guy likes to get hyped up. He likes to get pumped. This is him in 1999 at a net developers conference. Listen to this guy. Imagine this guy on the sidelines.
I love it.
Okay, so what is the $64,000 question? Holy cow, I'm going to have to tough it up now. Here we go. What's the $64,000 question for the field? What is the most asked question that I've received this week? What the hell are we supposed to do about .net, Steve? It's a very good question, and it's got a very, very clear answer. Developers. The key to .net, the key to industry transformation, the key to success is developers, 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 developers. Developers, 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 developers.
Oh, I want him. I want him bad. I want him bad.
This is I want this guy.
Could you even imagine Zuckerberg?
No.
Do you have to be human, by the way? Is that part of the...
Usually. Yeah. Otherwise,
we
AI.
kid. We make jokes. But
no, but yeah, Steve Ballmer. I want somebody on the sidelines.
You know, it's funny. When the team was first announced, we were all speculating. And, I was saying, wouldn't it be great if Melinda Gates and Mackenzie, what spaces?
Not Phillips. Mackenzie.
Isn't it Scott?
Mackenzie Scott, yeah.
Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Laura Scott.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What? Are you related? I didn't know you were related.
She's your aunt. People don't know that.
I said, wouldn't it be great if maybe even Jody Allen and Mackenzie and Melinda could put it together and have, ex-wives club.
Kind of a first wives club.
Yeah, right. That'd be great. But Steve Ballmer, what a wonderful fit that would be. He's got the experience. He's got the resources. He's got the passion. He's got the connections.
Yeah, he's got the money and the passion.
Legacy.
He's got the legacy.
Gosh, I love. And I'm looking at it real quick. There's stories that he would maybe bring as minority owners, partial owners. Names Marshawn Lynch and Richard Sherman have been bandied about as being potential bringing these guys home.
Plus, he just reminds me of this guy, and this would be fun. This would be fun for the next many, many years.
From what I've heard, you're using your paper not for writing, but for rolling doobies. You're going to be doing a lot of doobie rolling when you're living in a van down by the river.
I mean, how similar does he sound?
Developers, 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 developers.
Please, Steve Ballmer, please buy the team.
Oh, my God.
We want him.
I love that.
He's got my vote. For all that matters, he's got my vote. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Let us know your thoughts. Who do you want to own the team? We'd love to know. Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line, 888-973-5476. We've had a lot of Michael Jackson movie news in the last few days.
Yeah, it did great. Another big weekend coming, right?
We got more.
Okay.
We got more. Let's talk about this next. This is going to be interesting. All right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app.
The throw to first, and it's in time. Holy smokes, what a play by J.P. Crawford.
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house. But if you're looking for a truly golden view, look no further than the seats on the first baseline, a.k.a. Trident Town. Post up behind the Mariners dugout, and you get a great view of Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, and our entire rotation at work.
Swing and a miss. Fastball upstairs, blew it by him, strike 3.
Not to mention the best view of the best home run celebration in baseball. When the Trident goes up, you know a party's going down.
It is gone! Julio!
Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
With Mariners value games, you can score seats for less than $12 on select dates all season long, including the upcoming series against the Braves, Monday, May 4th through Wednesday, May 6th. Go to mariners.com/value to get your tickets and check out the full slate of value options, featuring the biggest ever Mariners value menu available every game.
I just can't dig it.
Dig what?
My water line.
Needs replacing?
And I don't want digging in my yard.
And maybe your driveway.
Can't dig it.
Don't dig it.
But how do you?
Apollo Plumbing replaces water lines without digging up your yard.
You're Dan.
From the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Apollo Plumbing.
Our trenchless technology replaces water and sewer lines.
Without digging up my yard?
2 little holes is all it takes.
Sounds better.
Faster, too.
And my yard?
Like we were never there.
Sounds spendy.
Not so much.
Oh?
In the end, about the same as that messy digging you don't want.
How do you figure?
Think about that landscaping you love.
Yeah?
Trenchless means you won't be paying to replace it.
Or my driveway.
We run everything underground.
Trenchless?
Do them all the time.
How about...
Easy payments?
Yeah.
With approved credit. Sure thing.
When can you get started?
We are the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Love that.
Apollo Plumbing, trenchless waterline replacement.
Sewer lines, too.
Can you dig that?
That I can.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-265-7681.
How does your roof look after this winter? Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Spring into action today. Save $3,000 on a new roof, siding, deck, or windows. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. We've been talking a lot. Last couple of days, we had two different stories about Michael Jackson. Now, I liked his music growing up. I then found out about the allegations against him, the many allegations, even though he was acquitted on the one major case that ended up dominating a huge portion of his later part of his life. But I no longer listen to his music, and I was saying on the show the other day, I would not go and see the Michael musical biopic for just that reason. I couldn't. I came to the same conclusion. I can't divorce the two issues. Yeah. Can't do it. Can't separate it. Yeah. If he had committed if he was alleged to have committed a different crime, it would be a different story. But because it was about children, that's not something I can divorce from the story. Right. So the movie, though, is crushing. It's doing very well. And internationally, it's the biggest opening for a musical biopic ever. Yes. Surpassing, what was the one with the Queen? Bohemian Rhapsody. Bohemian Rhapsody. Had the record, yeah. Freddie Mercury story. So it's obviously doing very well. And Hollywood obviously likes to do things well and make money if they can. And so if something does well, they're happy to make another one. They've already announced they're going to be making a Michael 2. It's
been out, what, 2 weeks?
It's been out like a week and a half.
It's coming up on its second weekend.
I believe so. Yeah. This weekend, heading into the second weekend.
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. And so, of course, and to be honest, knowing the way that Hollywood works, they probably already knew projection-wise how well it was going to do in the theaters, like 3 weeks out based on like buzz.
Okay.
And there was already talks, I'm sure, about sequels.
Well, when they decided to make it, there were already talks about sequels.
Well, that's true.
And they're probably waiting to see if the world gave it a cold shoulder, if the world was open-minded and embraced it, and they found the latter to be true.
100%. I guarantee you, written into the contracts of the people who made the movies was options for sequels, and they've already pre-negotiated those dollars.
Yep.
Now, they're waiting now. They're saying that filming would begin in next year in 2027. They're waiting for Antoine Fuqua, who's a phenomenal director. He's done a bunch of great stuff. He directed the first movie. They're saying that because he's such a busy guy and he's got a lot of irons in the fire, they got to wait for his schedule to open up, but they're hoping that they could get it going in 2027. The question now is, the first movie omitted all of the allegations of child abuse because the movie ends in 1988, which is 5 years before those allegations surfaced. So they didn't include any of that stuff.
Right. It's just about the music and the man.
It's just about the music and the man.
Yep.
So if they're going to make a second movie, is it going to be in that tight 5 years between 88 and 93 when those things are emerging? Or do they somehow do it way after the trials? Like what is this follow-up movie about if you don't include that stuff?
What else is there to say other than...
What else is there to say?
That's the thing. I mean, they ended it when they ended it because. That's why they ended it there. So they could avoid the topic. I mean, there's not enough happened between where they ended this first Michael movie and the beginning of the controversy. It seems to me if you're going to make a second movie, if you don't deal with this, if you don't make it about this, why are you bothering? It's just a blatant money grab either way.
Do you think it's going to be all Law and Order and stuff? You had this clip. This is hilarious.
Yeah, I thought Michael too.
Boom. Just his court case.
I mean, how do you know? There's this. What else do you have to say? Michael 2, Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and
you could call it acquitted.
Whatever you want to call it.
Because he was acquitted in that case.
Sure.
But there are other people still waiting for their day in court, other allegations. So but you have to deal with it, right?
Why else would you make a movie? Why, if there's more to say about Michael that's not this uncomfortable subject, should have been part of the first movie.
Yes.
There's not enough to say except this. And you can tell that story in a fair and open-minded and maybe judgmental way. Who knows?
Yeah, like maybe, personally, this is not the movie that I would make, but I could see them making, because it's his estate that's making these movies.
Yeah,
I mean, it's his nephew that stars as Michael.
Right, but that's the next question. Is this can of worms worth opening up just for more money?
Oh, 100% they will. Yeah. Hollywood is
to
only about money.
To quote, Dr. Malcolm, you could, but you didn't think if you should.
You didn't just to think
right?
you should, yes.
That's the question.
Well, you and I are sensible people.
Yeah.
And we recognize that to make a sequel movie and to not deal with the stuff that you left out of the first movie would seem impossible, but I could see them doing a version where they'd say, hey, there's clearly an audience who's happy watching a movie where none of this stuff is part of the story, and so why don't we do another movie where there are other events in his life that they could focus on.
Okay.
They could make it a love story between he and Lisa Marie. Do you remember when he was married to Elvis's daughter?
Yeah, it was about 8 minutes. Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember the strange... I mean,
yeah.
Aside from the horrible allegations, but is there a stranger human being that is in the last 30 years that you can think of that's had more of a crazy life that led to crazy...
No, I think nobody in history has had a more... unique, bizarre, troubled,
all those things,
and maybe it's overcoming all this. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know what they covered. And maybe it's not fair of me to make these judgments without having seen the first one. Maybe I see the first one, and there are questions, there are stories they didn't cover. There's things came up, things they chose not to put in this story.
I don't know. I don't.
You call it side 2? What do you call it?
Call it what?
Side 2? I mean,
the B-side.
Michael Jackson. Who's bad? I don't know. Is he? I don't know.
Jeez.
I mean. And will it depend?
I don't know if the family. I don't know if the family wants the who's bad.
You know about this better than most folks do because you've kind of worked in this arena. You've had success in this arena. If they greenlight the project, what happens if they can't get a great script?
They will just pay for something, and then eventually they'll just bury it.
They'll
bury it. They don't care.
They're not going to just release something.
No, they'll bury it.
Great.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
All right. We got a lot more coming up. We got Chris Davis is going to join us next, and we're going to talk about lawyerly things. You and I were asking questions about how do you select jury members? Can you ask about their mental fitness?
Right.
All those questions will be answered when we come back. Stick around.
And everybody is up, pulling for the big unit to do it with his brand, with his K. 1-2 pitch on the way, swing and a miss, and it's over. And he did it. He put it right on the rump of the old steer and burned her right in there.
It's the Big Unit's big weekend when the Mariners retire Randy Johnson's number 51 at T-Mobile Park. Congratulations, Randy, from a grateful city and the station that broadcasts every Mariners game you ever pitched. KIRO News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
They call this one Bill.
Whoa, aliens? Am I in a spaceship?
Affirmative, Bill.
What's with the laser saw?
Relax. We are cutting our bill in half.
What?
An Xfinity mobile transmission says you can cut your bill in half.
Oh, your mobile bill, not me, Bill.
Xfinity Mobile also says we can try it free for a year. Free.
Yes, with no commitment. Can we put the saw away?
I am reluctant. But we will find another being to bisect.
That's not sci-fi. It's Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity Internet members cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. Learn more at XfinityMobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings compares one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees, extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Thinking about starting your GLP-1 journey? Go to orderlymeds.com/radio. Get access to proven GLP-1 medications, licensed providers, and a plan built for real life. All online. No guesswork, no wasted time. Just real people, real answers, real momentum, and support that actually lasts. Join thousands already seeing results. Start now at orderlymeds.com/radio. orderlymeds.com/radio. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Hey, it's John Curley with my friend Bob Stelton. And Bob, just like me, you had a hip problem. You were recommended surgery. Why did you go see Dr. Wagner first?
I was walking around at about an 8 pain level. I couldn't walk that far before the pain would kick in, and it was impacting my workouts and just really impacting my day-to-day stuff.
So you had stem cell on your hip. How does it feel now?
I can do a lot of things I could not do prior to this procedure, and I feel like I've gotten back to being who I was prior to the injuries, which was somebody who's very active, loves being out there outside when the weather's great, being on the motorcycle, sparring in jiu-jitsu, working out. I can do all of those things now. And I've had friends that have gone to see Dr. Wagner. They had the same experience, whether they were dealing with a hip, a knee, an elbow, a shoulder. Everybody walking out of there feels like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Before you choose surgery, do what Bob and I did. Go see Dr. Mark Wagner first. drmarkwagnermd.com. drmarkwagnermd.com.
Grainger offers the professional grade products you need.
Delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Gas prices are up about 30 cents in 1 week to an average of $4.30 a gallon, but higher in places like California. Oil prices are now around $116 a barrel. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger has more on one of the major factors pushing up prices.
All the countries that were saying, we can get through this, we've got stockpiles, they're going through the stockpiles they had. Now they're coming to the market, pushing up the price of oil. Oil rises. About 2/3 of a gallon of gas is based on the price of oil. And boom, now we are $1.32 higher than we were before the war.
The U.S. House approves a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security and end the record shutdown. The bipartisan package had already passed the Senate and now goes to President Trump. House Speaker Mike Johnson.
This will relieve pressure from the Department of Homeland Security. Secretary Mullen, who I've spoken to in the last couple of hours, will be greatly relieved. The President will, the administration will. We were not going to have lines at TSA. Everybody will get their paychecks now. We'll get moving forward.
The shutdown has lasted for 75 days as Democrats refuse to fund President Trump's immigration enforcement operations without changes. President Trump signs an executive order to, he says, expand access to high-quality retirement savings accounts for millions of Americans. He says starting next year, Americans will be able to go to TrumpIRA.gov and open a new low-cost IRA account, and low-income Americans will be able to receive up to $1,000 a year in matching funds by the federal government deposited directly into their accounts. The president has nominated a radiologist and former Fox News medical contributor to be the next Surgeon General. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
The president called Nicole Sapphire a star physician who has spent her career guiding women facing breast cancer. His previous choice, Dr. Casey Means, was stalled in the Senate over questions about her experience and stance on vaccines. She was a close ally of Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. She was the second Surgeon General pick whose nomination has been withdrawn in Trump's second term.
Police bust a drug operation at Michigan State University.
MSU police officials say a suspect is facing felony charges for allegedly running a meth lab inside a lecture hall. It was discovered Monday after the building was evacuated for the presence of an unidentified chemical. 31-year-old Shin Tong was caught a day before with duffel bags full of chemicals.
Some of the stuff is rubbing alcohol, it's nail polish remover. Those products alone might not be dangerous, but if you start mixing chemicals together, there is a reaction.
That's University Police Chief Mike Yankowski. At this point, it's not clear if Tong is a student or a faculty member. Taylor Dietz for CBS News, Detroit.
Stocks close up on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Your summer camping trip could be a little messy this year. More on that straight ahead. But first, a quick check on that KIRO News Radio traffic. Not a whole lot going on out there. The usual stuff heading through Seattle will meet you. South 5 is crowded from Lake City Way in the downtown. About a 20-minute drive from Linwood in the downtown. North 5, you're thick from the West Seattle Bridge past I-90. You'll catch a little break, and then it's solid again from Mercer to the Ship Canal Bridge. About 25 minutes to get through this. And South 405 now filling in from South Bellevue down to the Renton Landing. Download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. Trailhead trash is going to be an unfortunate reality at popular campgrounds and outdoor sites around the state, thanks to first state and now federal proposed budget cuts, which would slash 25% of national parks staffing. That impacts popular regions like the Enchantments.
Now, the agency staff, of what's left of them, are trying to figure out what that damage is right now, but we know that there's damage, and that's going to require funding and people to make sure that they prioritize which of those roads can be opened.
Tom Uniak, director of Washington Wild, says you'll see more closed roads and unusable toilets because there's no one left to maintain them. Seattle detectives are investigating 2 related crimes overnight in Rainier Beach. They say it started on Rainier Avenue South when the man walked up to a parked car, stabbed the driver, and then walked away. The 56-year-old driver, who at first thought he'd been slept, sped away and struck a man at a nearby gas station parking lot, leaving him unconscious and unresponsive. The driver was treated for a slash wound to the neck at Harborview and will be booked into jail. No word yet on the condition of the other victim. The homicide and assault unit is continuing to look into both incidents. The Lake Stevens man who created one of the most popular action figures of the early 80s has died.
And the masters of the universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia.
Roger Sweet was a toy designer at Mattel who came up with the muscle-bound action figure back in the early 80s. The Daily Herald of Everett reports he was 91. Sweet's creation became the centerpiece of the Masters of the Universe franchise, which also included the villain Skeletor and He-Man's sister She-Ra. Sweet created those characters too. He left Mattel in 1991 and later wrote a memoir accusing the company execs of trying to take credit for his ideas. Well, new rules for cell phones in Seattle Public Schools takes effect Monday. Superintendent Ben Schuldiner issued a district-wide directive Wednesday evening.
No offense to OSPI and to the state, but they know it's a problem too. And what was the response? Let's study it until 2030. That's not what we're doing, and that's not the kind of school district that we're going to have here, is that if we know we've got to do something, we're going to act, we're going to be thoughtful, we're going to listen to folks, and we're going to do what's right.
The new policy bans phones in K-8 schools all day. At the high school level, phones are off limits during class, but permitted during lunch and between periods. School Board Vice President Evan Briggs is calling for a full ban for high school students, in addition to those in kindergarten through 8th grade. Now, check out your KIRO News Radio weather. Looking great out there. Low 70s and partly sunny the next couple days. Near 80 on Sunday. Mostly sunny and 67 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 1 hour down, 2 hours to go. If you missed anything in the first hour, go get the podcast. Really great hour, great discussions. You're not going to want to miss a second of it. We have another one coming up right now. We're very happy to welcome back to the show Chris Davis from Davis Law Group. Chris, thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back.
The reason I wanted to have you in is Spike and I were having a discussion the other day. This kind of wild story happened. You remember the Spike in Monroe, the double stabbing?
Turn on the microphone. Rule number 1, turn on the microphone. Yeah, a gentleman was convicted of a crime by a jury of his peers for stabbing. And then 3 days after the verdict came in of a retrial, one of the jurors was arrested for multiple stabbings. Turned out he was psychotic.
Well,
schizophrenic.
That was his defense.
He was hearing voices.
He said he heard Jesus tell him that he should go and stab people.
So the convicted stabber, the first guy, not the juror, wants a new trial because this guy was on my jury.
Yes.
And we had questions and said, well, if we got questions about the legal world, we need to ask Chris Davis.
Let's ask Chris Davis. So we got into the discussion of, during the case, it's called, I mispronounced it. I was calling it Gwadir, which is not it. Is it voir dire?
Voir dire with a V.
I learned from my cousin Vinny, so I don't know. Utes. It's called Two Utes were voir dired. Yeah.
Fantastic movie, by the way, if anybody hasn't seen it. Can you tell us, what is the process of voir dire? And the question that we had when we were discussing it was like, all right, if you have a guy who gets put onto a trial, he's juror number 14, but he's put onto a trial, and he has to decide somebody's fate or help decide somebody's fate, and then 3 days later, he himself goes out and is now accused of doing some stabbings, claiming he's schizophrenic and hearing voices, then doesn't that come out in the juror selection time? Like, shouldn't you be able to know, boy, I don't know if we should be putting a schizophrenic on the jury?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It's jury selection. You're not allowed to go very deep. You only have a certain amount of time and a certain amount of information on the jurors. So you might have 50 to 100 potential jurors in the courtroom. And as the lawyer, you're tasked with asking each of them questions. And the issue here is whether the juror resulted in an unfair trial in some way. And so if he was schizophrenic, let's say, but he was on his medication, and it wasn't an issue during the trial.
Think of that.
I could see in that situation the court would deny the motion for new trial.
Are you allowed to ask questions about someone's health issues or mental health issues when you're voir dire?
Yeah, to a certain extent. But as a lawyer, you want to be very careful. You don't want to offend people, right? You don't want to make them say something that's private in front of everybody, right? So you're only allowed a certain amount of leeway, right? You can't get really deep into health problems, et cetera.
Well, let me ask you this question. If this guy was schizophrenic, I mean, that's still, I guess, up for debate.
Sure.
I mean, his trial will now happen. Ironically, he will now be in a stabbing trial. But if he has a history of this, which is a mental issue, and he has, if he has these mental health issues, that's going to be documented. Do you, as an attorney, like when you're trying a case, do you as an attorney have access to those documents, or is that illegal because of I know there's laws in Washington that prevent you from having access to people's medical records. Yeah. Does that apply in court cases as well?
Yeah, you're not going to have complete access, especially to medical records. So you'll typically know if the person has a criminal history, for instance. So if this guy did not have a criminal history, and if he answered the questions during jury selection or voir dire honestly, then I really don't see a basis to set aside the verdict in that criminal trial that he participated in.
Doesn't that seem kind of... Again, I'm not an attorney. You're an attorney, but to Spike and I think we were both scratching our heads like that.
This guy deserves a new trial.
Well,
that was my initial thought. But
the question is whether it tainted the jury in some way. So I would imagine as the lawyers would try to get statements from the other jurors to try to put together what happened during deliberations. And if the guy was normal, reasonable, participated in the deliberations in a fair way, then I think it's an uphill climb for the attorney to try to get a new trial.
That to me is one of those, I mean, I think, we have a flawed system, but the best system, if I was going to be...
It's not perfect, but it's the best we got.
I wouldn't want to be tried anywhere else but in the United States. I really do believe that. And yet, I also was just assuming that when you went into a trial, that somebody sitting on the jury would not be taking medications for very harsh mental things that could affect them, who 3 days later might be stabbing people because he's hearing voices. That to me doesn't sound like he's of sound body and mind. And I would then go hey, I want a new trial. That makes sense.
I mean, I'm asking Spike, would you, if you were the defense attorney for the guy who got convicted and you found out one of the jurors 3 days later?
Yeah, well, I would certainly investigate it. I would certainly file the motion. The question is, would it be granted? And I don't have a lot of information.
Yeah.
But as long as the guy was honest, forthright during jury selection, it's going to be a tough hill climb to get a new trial in that situation. Let me just throw out an example. Let's say a juror is sitting in on a theft trial, right? And then 2 days after the verdict is read, that juror is caught for shoplifting, right? Would the trial verdict, the guilty verdict, be set aside because of that? Probably not.
You're right.
No.
And then you start thinking all right, well, what's the threshold? Is it 2 days after? What if it's a month after?
Exactly.
So what kind of crime has to be committed to make this guy an unfit juror?
How big of a crime? But to me, multiple stabbings would probably fit under that.
That's a bar.
I understand the logic, though, and why you wouldn't.
What's really important is, did this juror hold back or say false things during jury selection?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I love the movie 12 Angry Men, and we referenced it when we were first talking about this story. What if this guy what if it turns out that the guy in the jury who was ended up being the juror 14 was overbearing and domineering and talked a lot of, what if he was the one guy who was what if he was the Henry Fonda character in this jury? He talked them all into...
Yeah, so again, it's very difficult because the courts look at jury deliberation as kind of sanctified, not peeking behind the covers too much.
Yeah. Which they need to keep that separate.
Exactly. So unless there was something very severe that affected the deliberations in some way that one of the parties did not receive a fair trial, there's probably not going to be a new trial because of that reason.
Interesting. Yeah. It's so interesting.
I know we have some other cases that you're working on that we want to get to. I'd ask one final question about Wider. Sure. They're limited in the number of jurors you can reject. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Much like a challenge flag for the NFL head coach, you only get to say no to so many jurors. Do you have to guys you would rather not, but you don't have any challenges left?
Like the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, that's true. So each side only gets 3 peremptory challenges, which is you can remove anybody for any reason. But beyond that, whoever gets on the jury box stays a juror. The other way is to move for a challenge for cause, which you have to show the juror is biased in some way or unfair. That's very difficult to do, but that's the only other way.
In some of the cases, all right, my last question on this, because it's very interesting.
It's fascinating.
We do a whole segment on voir dire.
I know, right?
No, we won't. But when you're sitting there and you're having these discussions, and with your team, and you're trying to decide, all right, which jurors are acceptable to us and which ones do we really want to put a red flag next to. How much time are you spending on each one of those individual people? Like you said, in some cases, you might have 50, 60, 70 options that you have to do your best to investigate. I mean, I've seen movies with what's the one with Gene Hackman and what's his face with the boombox?
Cusack, John Cusack.
John
I was thinking the same one.
Yeah, The Juror. I don't know what it is, but they have a whole team of people in the back room investigating and following. That's movie stuff.
That's movie.
But how much time do you actually have?
You don't get a lot of time. Every case is unique. It really comes down to the judge and how much time he or she is going to allow. But in some cases, you may only have 15 or 20 minutes per round, which means no more than maybe 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Criminal trials are a little bit different. Usually the judges will allow more time, but not enough time to go very deep on any one or two particular jurors.
Gotcha. And the name of the movie was The Juror?
No, Runaway Jury.
Runaway Jury.
Yeah.
That's it. All right.
It took place in New Orleans. Great movie. Well, real quick before we move on, best courtroom movie of all time. You're an expert on this. Come on. Yeah.
You must have one.
I like the Paul Newman one, The Verdict.
Verdict,
oh,
yeah.
My gosh.
It's a classic. It does replicate real life pretty much in the courtroom. You know how unfair judges can be at times.
Yeah,
right?
But those movies, that was in the 70s, right?
Right.
What a beautiful movie that was. Just seeing. I mean, he was a lonely man. He was not in a good space, and he's had this one last chance to fight for something he believes in a system that he doesn't really believe in anymore. Right. And this is the case that's going to get it back for him. Yeah. And it's I highly recommend. If anybody hasn't seen that movie yet,
it's a great movie.
Beautiful movie. Yeah. All right. We were talking off the air. I was kind of amazed by this story. We referenced this last time you were here. We can talk a little bit more about it now. But you have a case right now against the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, the DCYF, and also a local school district.
Right.
When I tell you I referenced this with you, and I said, hey, it's kind of a behind the scenes at this point, but the case is unbelievable that something like this would happen. A young man starved to death.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about this and what's happening right now?
The boy's name was Karion Franks. He was 15 years old, autistic, severely autistic, nonverbal, and he was being supported by his adoptive parents that were receiving assistance from the state. And the adoptive mother, Felicia Adams Franks, starved the boy over several months. And we sued DCYF because a week before the boy died, the DCYF caseworker actually visited the apartment where the boy was living and did not do anything to help the boy.
This is one of these wellness checks they're required to do.
Well, it was based on a complaint. So somebody had said that the children looked emaciated and were not being fed, and so the DCYF caseworker came out to investigate. And the boy weighed about 61 pounds at the time of his death. And
how old?
15 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we sued the state, DCYF, but we also found during our investigation that there were numerous signs of abuse and neglect that Karion's teachers ignored. Probably anywhere between 20 and 30 instances, red flags that would put any reasonable teacher on notice to make a complaint, and that was not done.
And this is Evergreen School District?
This is down in Vancouver, Washington, right?
Why would a teacher not report these things? Are there reasons are there teachers at risk if they make reports or accusations?
Great question. No, the law is drafted in a way, for instance, the reporter has complete immunity. So if your report turns out to be false, you can't be sued, right? The other thing with the law is that if you do not make a complaint, that is considered a criminal offense, and you can be taken.
Because those are the safeguards of the system, the
exactly.
people, the teachers, the school systems.
It's set up to encourage people to make reports. Even in close cases, you make the call to CPS. And it's only about a 5 or 10 minute call, if that, in many cases.
What's interesting, too, is you have somebody, obviously, in this poor young man who's passed away, but you have somebody who noticed
right.
and said something. So much so that DCYF actually sends somebody out there. But then the person, was it just a matter of like if they had just lifted up the kid's shirt to see his stomach, or like what signs should they have noticed that they were not seeing?
From what we know, the caseworker saw the boy in a room that was completely dark. She did not turn on the lights. She did not go to the boy and lift up his shirt, which is a minimum of what should have been done.
Yeah.
If she had done that, she would have clearly seen that he was emaciated and starving, right? But even without that, by looking at the boy's face, his gaunt appearance, right, would have put any reasonable person on notice that the boy's not being fed, especially when that's the whole purpose that you're there. The complaint was the children are not being fed enough food.
Yeah.
And
it's not like a scheduled visit.
Right, and it's not the kind of case, too, where we get more right than we get wrong. You can't afford to get any of them wrong.
Right.
I mean, these are life and death situations when someone has to do a wellness check on a child.
Yeah.
Also, the school district thing is confusing to me because they're seeing this kid. I assume that his program that he was in would be a daily, 5 days a week program,
yes.
Like most students. So he's outside the home. He's not in a dark room where that can be hidden.
Right.
Teachers are interacting with him, I assume, on a pretty personal way. If he had a lot of disabilities, and I remember when I was in high school and when I was in elementary and middle school. If you have a special needs class, say, then it sounds like he might have been in one of those programs.
Yep.
They're getting extra special attention. I mean, they're much smaller classroom sizes. How is it that those teachers were not making those assessments?
Well, we don't believe the teachers were adequately trained by the school district. That's number one. Number two, they didn't really understand fully their responsibility. They didn't understand that even in close calls, minor suspicion, you need to make the report.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen in this case. I mean, we've got emails and some records to show that the teachers knew something was going on. I think in this case, the adoptive mother was intimidating. And so I think some of the teachers were afraid not to make her angry.
Run afoul of her. Yeah.
Exactly. So you add all those things up, and you talk about a couple of dozen missed opportunities to save this child.
Is there an effort to better educate teachers to what their responsibilities and parameters are of these programs?
That's a great question. I think it really comes down to the district involved. In our case, we don't believe there was any training at all. Each teacher was left to decide on his or her own when to make a report, right? There should be some uniformity among the district and the teachers and administrators that if you see or hear these signs, a report should be made. And that wasn't done in this case.
There's a lot of cases involving schools that you guys are dealing with specifically, like right now.
Right.
Is there a reason for that? Have people become more aware as we talk about things like this? I mean, we're talking about it now. Somebody hears a story like this and they think, hey, you know what? I saw somebody. And so then they investigate and find out that, there's a reason that we need to be asking more questions.
Is there like an increased public awareness? Is there an evolution of public awareness?
That's a great question. It might be because of that. It might be because of budget cuts, right? And kids following through the cracks as far as like the special needs kids and watching for signs of suspected abuse and neglect. I don't know exactly why we're getting a lot of school cases, but we definitely are, and there's probably a multitude of factors for that.
One of the things that, I know we're almost out of time here, but one of the things that shocked me last time we were talking, I forget the case we had you in on, but there was another case, and you were telling us how one of the biggest offenders in the state, as far as the state keeps they keep money on hand to make payouts in the event of wrongdoing.
There's a dedicated fund.
Yeah, and one of the biggest offenders in that is the DCYF. Isn't that right?
That's right.
What is it yearly? Do you have that number, like an approximation of what they're paying out?
I think one figure I heard $400 to $500 million.
That's what I thought. $500 million. I heard. Yeah.
Over a short time span, maybe 3 to 5 years. I think
paying out because of either awarded against them or settlements for wrongdoing that they have admitted. I mean, that's, to me,
because they're not doing their job. They're not investigating and protecting these kids like they should.
Like the Powell kids. You remember the Powell kids?
Sure.
Yeah.
That was like a landmark giant case. And that payout was something like $100 million or something.
That was the verdict, right?
Am I wrong? Am I misremembering this? That it seems to me now there are more cases from years prior, even decades prior, where people who found themselves in abusive situations or inappropriate situations with educators who didn't come forward at the time, but now it's like, hey, you know what? 10 years ago, my teacher did blah, 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 these things.
Yeah.
Those are also part of these cases that school districts are settling or or paying out for.
Yeah, you see that in the sex abuse cases. So
Yeah.
a teacher has some sort of sexual relationship with a student, but the student doesn't know what's going on, and only until the student gets to be 18, 19, 20 realizes what has been done and brings a claim.
And there's no statute of limitations on that stuff, right? Like that.
Well, there is a statute of limitations. It comes down to when do you first become aware of the damages to what was done to you. And a lot of times a child doesn't know that until
Not
they get
the
in
incident,
their 30s.
not the incident, but when you're aware of damage.
When you're aware
Okay.
of the harm, right? And a lot of these kids don't know that until they get to be adults, 30, 40, 50 years
So
old.
you could have a scenario where something happens 20 years ago, but somebody doesn't realize it until 25.
Yeah. Or a lot of times they block it out. Their psyche blocks it out. They don't remember
I
it.
hear about that all the time.
They go to therapy, and then this stuff comes up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Is that one of the reasons? I mean, it's in a different thing, but nowadays the when someone can bring charges of sexual misconduct or abuse or what even worse, much longer limits. Statute limitations have been extended in some places.
Yeah, many states have done that. Like California has extended it. In Washington, I don't think it's been extended a lot, if at all. But yeah, these are some of the ways that the states are trying to protect these kids.
Well, there's just we end up covering a lot of legal stories, and it's nice to have a voice to help us make some sense of it. Chris Davis, Davis Law Group, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely, thanks, guys.
All right, we got a lot more coming up.
Watch The Verdict, everybody. 1982.
Watch The Verdict.
Oh, great movie.
Unbelievable movie.
Nice choice, by the
really,
way.
really good. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
And everybody is up, pulling for the big unit to do it with his brand, with his K. 1-2 pitch on the way, swing and a miss, and it's over. And he did it. He put it right on the rump of the old steer and burned her right in there.
It's the big unit's big weekend when the Mariners retire Randy Johnson's number 51 at T-Mobile Park. Congratulations, Randy, from a grateful city and the station that broadcasts every Mariners game you ever pitched. KIRO News Radio.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Big Trees is Washington's premier tree sales and transplant company. Looking for a big selection of big trees? Visit Big Trees in Snohomish or BigTreeSupply.com.
Beauty, privacy, instantly. Big Trees.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these 3 books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Don't miss the Puyallup RV Show, April 30th through May 3rd. Explore hundreds of new and used RVs, manufactured homes, and take advantage of overstocked local dealers offering huge discounts. Tickets at PuyallupRVShow.com, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. Another day, another record at the gas pump. Latest numbers from AAA show the average price hit an all-time high in Washington, $5.57 a gallon. It's about 20 cents higher in the Puget Sound region. CBS's Allison Keyes is hearing from drivers.
In Detroit, people like this man who drive for a living are telling tales of woe as gas stations are raising prices nearly daily.
I usually stop for gas about 3 times a day, usually about $30 each.
In Philadelphia,
just painful.
Drivers say the prices are pinching the pocket of everyone, especially the working class.
I'm working to pay the gas pretty much at this time. It's killing me.
Some say they're cutting back on groceries because they must drive for work. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
And in California, gas prices are now at $6 a gallon, the nationwide average at $4.30. President Trump says let Iran play in the World Cup. He told reporters in the Oval Office today he's on the same page as FIFA President Gianni Infantino.
I said, you do whatever you want. You can have them. You don't have to have them. Probably have a good team. I don't know. Do they have a good team? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Would be hard to believe, actually.
Infantino reiterated today that Iran will compete, including in a match versus Egypt in Seattle in June. Speaking in Vancouver, BC, the FIFA president says the World Cup should unite nations through soccer, not politics. To the closing bell report now, and we now know how much Microsoft's voluntary buyouts will cost the company. Microsoft CFO Amy Hood laid out the numbers during Wednesday's earnings call.
Roughly $900 million in one-time costs for the recently announced voluntary retirement program.
Now, that cost is just a fraction of Microsoft's most quarterly profits of nearly $32 billion. About 7% of the company's U.S.-based employees are eligible for that buyout. Solid gains today on Wall Street. The Dow up 790, NASDAQ gained 219, S&P 500 up 73 points. To the real-time traffic desk now at 1:32. Here's Nate Connors.
Thank you, Aaron. In Gig Harbor, we just cleared a couple minutes ago a crash eastbound 16 at Wallachia Drive, and it left you with a thick backup starting at Purdy Drive, about a 2 to 3 mile backup here. Over in Bothell, we've got a new collision, South 405 at 522. This one blocks your right lane and partially blocking that exit lane. So you're backed up to 527 right now. North 405 also slows through the Canyon Park area. Here in Seattle, it's now a half-hour commute through downtown on North 5. Typical scattered backup starting before the West Seattle Bridge. South 5 building volumes coming out of Northgate to I-90 gets pretty thick at the convention center. Eastbound 520 is packed leaving I-5 over to Montlake. Southbound on Montlake Boulevard, you're bumper to bumper from the U Village to the bridge. Most likely these are from a recent bridge closure. And in Renton, heading that way, South 405 packed through Factoria, and then it continues crowded from there into Renton. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Thank you, Nate. And now to the forecast. Looking at partly cloudy skies today, but nice weather. We're in the low 70s for the highs this afternoon. Right now, mid-60s across the map. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. Lots of great stuff to get to, so you don't want to miss a second of it. Jason Rance is going to join us just a little bit to talk about a lot of stuff. That's going to be at 2 o'clock. Right now, we want to play you some audio in the White House just recently. Was this just yesterday? President Trump he hosted the Artemis astronauts.
Yesterday.
All right.
The crew of Artemis 2.
Artemis 2, standing beside the Resolute desk. Is that the name of the desk?
Yeah,
the
Resolute desk. Well done. Made from the hull of a ship.
Yes.
That's right.
And its twin sits where? Buckingham Palace with the Queen.
Oh, because there's a reproduction of it at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, no.
Yeah? There's a reproduction at Mar-a-Lago. Because there was somebody was like, he brought the Resolute desk to Mar-a-Lago, and no, they had one made. It's on display. It's lovely. It's fine.
Oh, the reproduction.
Reproduction.
But isn't there?
There is one. Yeah, there's one.
The Queen has a
Buckingham.
Buckingham. They're similar, right? Aren't they made from the same old?
I believe from the same wood. They're not a twin. They're not
ship.
twin desks, but they're from the same ship.
They're cousins. Yeah. All right. So the astronauts, Christina, Victor, Reed, and Jeremy, were next to the president, and a couple of funny things happened. This one was, you brought this up. I did not see this, but Trump was asked about his ability to be an astronaut. What happened here?
Well, the president does what the president does. He loves to be a part of the action, likes to include himself, and that's fine.
Sure.
He's enthusiastic. He loves space travel, I guess, and he thinks he could pass the physical. He actually said it. Now, when I saw this, I'm like, really?
All right. I haven't heard this yet. I'm hearing this for the first time with you. This will be fun.
We're very proud of these people. They have unbelievable courage. Unbelievable. A lot of other things too, by the way. To get in there, you have to be very smart. You have to do a lot of things physically good. So I would have had no trouble making it. I'm physically very, very good. Maybe a little bit of a problem. I don't know, sure. We'll have to try it sometime. Is a president allowed to go up in one of these missions?
We can get working on that, Mr. President.
We'd have no problem, right?
We can launch more rockets. The opportunity.
We'll have to try it.
He's clearly not as physically fit as them. He's an old man.
Well, yeah.
Well, I think he was kind of joking on himself.
Yeah,
he was. I don't think he was saying he could actually do it.
He was joking. I've been trying to be kinder to the president of late.
Have you really?
You noticed.
That's
I
nice.
hope you've noticed. I've tried to give credit where credit is due and
good for you.
Acknowledge this.
That's nice.
I didn't point out the fact that he's cutting the NASA budget, which is great. Sure. that he's able to welcome the Artemis 2 crew in.
What's really interesting is they addressed this. They talked to the administrator, Jarek Eisenman. He had a really interesting answer to this because they asked him before Artemis went up. They said, "Hey, aren't you guys cutting the budget?" And he goes, "Well, what we've done is we've cut waste. We don't want to waste people's money." He goes, "Look at what we're accomplishing right now. We're sending rockets up to the moon and around the moon, further than anyone's ever been. We're actually reaching out into space. We're saying we're going to plant a full-on moon base in the next, 7 years?"
I don't know the time frame of that.
Yeah, something like that. You say we're going to get on the moon, we're going to build a permanent base, and we're going to do it for less money, which actually I like. I mean, we're constantly talking about wanting to make sure we're smart with money and cutting budgets and stuff.
True.
I don't see that as a bad thing. Cutting budget, if it's bloated, cut away. For sure. Speaking of NASA administrators,
who needs backup systems?
I'm sure they have backup systems.
3 parachutes? You need 3 parachutes?
We don't need 3. 2 is good. 2 is good.
Kid.
Speaking of NASA administrator, this was painfully awkward. Did you see this with the ears? Did you see Trump?
No.
Oh my gosh. So the NASA administrator, have you seen this guy, Jared Isaacman?
I haven't.
Okay, so nice fella, nice looking guy.
Okay.
Just he's not, I wouldn't say you wouldn't think of him like, he's not a Brad Pitt, but he just looks like, he's a guy. He looks like all of us. He just looks like a guy. He happens to have fairly prominent, noticeable ears, I would say. And I'm saying that in a kind way. Trump said it in a different way, and this is kind of interesting.
Are you considering relocating NASA's headquarters out of D.C. once the lease is up? States like Texas, Ohio, and Florida.
Well, the best man to tell you that is the man standing right over here. You heard that question? With those beautiful ears of yours? He's got great hearing, He's got super hearing.
Trick of the trade, sir.
He's got fairly prominent ears.
Okay.
And as I'm watching that, I was just like, ugh.
He doesn't miss anything with those ears. Look at him. They're like catcher's mitts on the side of his head.
Have you seen? You got to Google this guy. As we're on the air, I'd like you to Google him just so that you. Okay, so
name?
type in Jared Isaacman. Now you in the listening audience, you're going to hear Spike's reaction in real time. And I'm only bringing this up because Trump did. I would never bring this up for any other reason, but I'm only bringing it up because he did. And when you see his picture, he's got a fairly prominent. He's got fairly prominent ears. But normally...
He can fly the moon without a rocket. Sorry, I kid. Wow. Okay, good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
You know how they have those hats that come over and cover the ears? Do they make one in his size?
I'm sure they do. But it's a feature. As you get older, you get used to having features that are unique that somebody might, as a child, struggle with. But as you get older, and especially when you're extremely successful and now running NASA, you probably shake off. And yet, when Trump brings it up, you see this. Okay, you're watching it right there. You see that?
Holy!
Pause it right there on his face. Pause it right there on his face.
Good for him.
Can't you see? I mean, I'm not trying to oversell this, but I can see 9-year-old Jared as he is
Oh, yeah.
I see 9-year-old Jared in that
look at
face,
that.
and I'm thinking to myself,
that's loving what he does.
well, no, I'm seeing somebody
Kids?
who had to deal with this probably many times in his life.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, you're getting it from the president, so you can't,
Baby of mine. Sorry.
That's horrible.
I'm sorry.
But I felt bad for him. I was just like, oh, this poor guy. Like, he doesn't need
it's funny.
from Trump on a
Your
bodily
ears,
feature like that.
your ears never stop growing. Do you know that?
Apparently.
No, they don't. Look at anybody who's an elderly person. And there's a reason. As your hearing diminishes, I swear to you, this is evolutionary. This is millennia.
It's not just like old fat skin hangs lower.
No, your ears continue to grow in size because you lose your hearing, and they try to. And the idea was to catch more sound. I swear to you.
I don't know if I believe that.
Look it up.
Why do people explain fatness? Why do people get fatter? What's the evolutionary reason to get fatter when you get older?
Well, that thins the herd. It keeps guys like me from slowing down the pack. I'm left behind for the straight hungry saber tooth.
From an evolutionary standpoint, why am I losing my hair faster than I used to?
That I don't know. Well, no, that's gravity. Your hair stops going up and starts going sideways.
Same for ears, maybe.
Take a look at King Charles III speaking in front of Congress the other day.
Why does his hands look like they?
And then Google young King Charles that Trump's mom had a crush on. Much smaller ears on young King Charles.
I think so. My grandpa had big ears, which
Not
means that
always.
I'm probably going to have big ears too. But his ears were like they really hung low.
There's
a thing like this thing. What is this thing called?
Lobe.
A lobe.
Your earlobe. Yeah.
His earlobe was quite prominent.
It was lober than it was when he was younger.
It was a lot lower.
Where are we?
It's actually my grandmother said that's what attracted her to my grandfather.
His ears.
Said, look at the size of that lobe. You know what they say about guys with big lobes?
They don't miss a thing.
Yes,
right.
That's exactly right. That's the radio safe version.
Spent a ton of money on hats. That's what they say.
This is the Artemis II crew being interviewed just after they got out of the White House. They were talking with a number of different news outlets.
Oval Office yesterday, what was it like? The president was angry that you
I guess the day after, whatever.
guys didn't get more questions. Were you?
I mean, we were there to serve. We're always there to serve. So we had an amazing tour of the White House before the Oval Office, and then getting to meet the president is it's quite an honor.
What's next for these?
Supposed to say.
What's next for these folks? Do you think? I mean, they've done. Imagine the fervor of going up and being the astronaut. I mean, they got a lot of press.
Sure,
a lot of press.
Yeah.
When you come back from that, you want to decompress. You want to just chill out for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Do you write a book? Do you think about going back into space? Do you what would you do if you had gone? I wonder if any of them are just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to retire now and. I've done it. I've gone as far as you can go.
Well, there's, I think the captain of that crew.
Sure.
And he's from Maryland. His last name
is it Jeremy Hansen?
Yeah. Well, no, okay. Wiseman. Reed Wiseman.
Reed Wiseman,
captain, yeah.
the Canadian.
Was he the Canadian?
I think he's the Canadian.
Okay, then that wasn't Reed Wiseman. I'm thinking of the captain of the crew. You're probably right.
The pilot is Victor Glover.
That was okay.
Commander Reed Wiseman.
Commander. Okay, yeah, that's what.
So there you go.
He's been before. He was he flew previous missions, like shuttle missions, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I don't think he'll go back. You know, I mean, there's a point in time where
you've done enough.
It's someone else's turn.
Pass the baton.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if everything I know, I learned from the movie. So they cycle through the program.
Yeah.
You know,
and just like Trump said, I could physically do it. Obviously, he's joking. That takes a toll.
It does take quite a toll on the body.
So
I imagine they'll teach, they'll speak, they'll stay, of course, part of NASA. They'll write. They've got incredible experience, unique experience that no one else has. That's
pretty cool.
That people will love to hear. They'll inspire.
Just inspire. Yeah. That's your next mission. Your mission
to inspire.
Inspire. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We're going to inspire you guys next. And we're going to do it by talking about Ozempic breath.
What?
That's a thing.
There's a thing?
There's a thing. And there's a whole side market that is now popped up because apparently there is a very specific breath that comes from people taking Ozempic that is not a desirable outcome.
Really?
And we will tell you about it next. You may have already been around Ozempic breath.
Oh.
And we'd love your thoughts on this. Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line, 888-973-5476. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Charlie Hart.
And I'm Amanda Factor. Will we set another all-time record overnight?
We'll have the latest on how the war in Iran is affecting the price at the pump.
Mariners back home after a very successful road trip back to 500.
And Rick Riz joins us with a preview of the series against the Royals.
Paul Holden has your weekend planner.
And Sully with traffic every 10 minutes.
Join us tomorrow, 5 to 9 on Seattle's Morning News.
We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Spring is a perfect time to make improvements that protect and add value to your home. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For decades, homeowners across the Pacific Northwest have trusted our team for roofing, siding, windows, and custom decking. This spring, save up to $3,000, or qualified homeowners can take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest up to 24 months. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
On top of home and auto, Progressive protects your boat, RV, and motorcycle so you can explore the unknown.
Actually, we just take the RV to the same campground every year.
Well, maybe you can catch your own dinner on your boat.
Oh, we can actually get pizza delivered there from this brick oven place we love.
Will you at least try a new topping?
Honestly, probably not. We kind of have a go-to order.
Fine. Just bundle home or auto insurance with your outdoor vehicles with Progressive and stay protected when you go, I guess, where you've gone before. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com. Or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
For more than 75 years, the VA Home Loan Benefit has helped millions of eligible veterans and service members achieve their piece of the American dream, a home for their families. Did you know that you could purchase a home or refinance your current home loan with your VA Home Loan Benefit? VA home loans have lower closing costs and generally enjoy lower interest rates than other borrowers. The VA home loan may save you thousands of dollars on your mortgage. For more information, visit www.va.gov or talk to a lender of your choice. Choose VA.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Thinking about starting your GLP-1 journey? Go to orderlymeds.com/radio. Get access to proven GLP-1 medications, licensed providers, and a plan built for real life. All online. No guesswork, no wasted time. Just real people, real answers, real momentum, and support that actually lasts. Join thousands already seeing results. Start now at orderlymeds.com/radio. orderlymeds.com/radio. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Amazon Business with smart business buying. Innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it today at carsforkids.org. Your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call 1-877-CARS4KIDS to donate your car today. That's cars with a K.
All right, welcome back to the show. Shameless plug. I'm competing with Charlie Harger from Seattle's Morning News to try to get the most clicks on our articles. text phone to 888-973-5476. I can send you my latest piece today on the dangers of cell phones in schools. I truly believe in that, not just because I want to beat Charlie, but because I want to beat cell phones. Phone to 888-973-5476. All right. We teased this story. This is a bizarre one. I'd never heard of this. Ozempic breath. Were you aware of this, Spike? Is this the first time you ever saw this too?
I had no idea. I tell you what, I may have lived through it.
Did you try Ozempic?
We remember before the wedding last year, we were doing these.
Forgot.
Yeah,
the GLP-1 thing.
Yeah. We did a short 8-week, 10-week.
Yeah.
Run on this.
Kind of a quick cleanse.
Yeah, just to get into a tux that didn't, I didn't want to look like the penguin.
Sure.
I thought I looked pretty good.
You look great.
Pulled it off.
Yeah.
Did
you find it effective when you took it? Did you notice the weight kind of coming off?
It worked. I found the side effects unpleasant. The gastrointestinal.
A lot of time
a lot of time. A lot of time. Yeah.
That's what I've heard. But
a lot of coming and going. Through my food intake and you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
You lose hunger and you also have an increased desire to go to the bathroom.
How is less in more out? How's that even possible? It's a miracle of modern physics. I said.
What a miracle!
It's a miracle, and but what I didn't realize though, and no one said anything. But if I'm reading into this, what is Ozempic breath?
Yeah.
And there's genuine concern and there's genuine study being done and there's a genuine response from the pharmaceutical industry, from the medication industry. The telltale signs are everybody's out of mints is how they notice.
That's basically what's happening, yeah.
People are out.
Here's the side effect. It's not an official side effect. Like when you watch the drug commercials and they say, Namalibadab, or whatever the name of the thing is that we can't pronounce. They're always like, the side effect is you might hate life even more and you might have horrible thoughts and all these horrible things.
Right.
But they're not listing bad breath as one of those.
Right.
But on the Ozempic thing, people are calling it Ozempic breath because basically what they're saying is what they think is happening is it's creating a dehydration effect, which then dries your mouth out, which then encourages certain bacteria and halitosis.
Poor oral hygiene.
Poor oral hygiene.
Caused by these drugs. But they're also, I'm reading in this article from Healthline.
Yep.
Healthline.com. They're also saying that these medications cause your body to not clean or clear your stomach as often. Usually they say if you eat food within 4 hours of process through your stomach into your
I guess
system,
it makes sense because you're holding on to it because you're not eating as much.
Right. Well, this stuff it says your stomach turns into a compost bin, essentially.
And then it comes up.
Yeah, and it's not bad breath as much as a stomach odor escaping. They call it Ozempic burp.
I don't care where it originates.
It can clear a room.
If it's coming out your mouth, I'm thinking
that's
it's breath.
Bad breath.
It'd be funny if you're like, it's not my breath.
It's my
It's the
gut.
stuff in my stomach.
It's my little compost bin I got going down
what
here,
else is
babe.
breath? But that stuff. But one of the funny side effects, aside from the horribly bad breath, apparently, is you have snack companies like Hershey's. Hershey's is saying that their sales of gum and mints is up 17%.
Yeah.
Because people are trying to mask this horrible smell that's coming out of their stomachs through their mouths. And another thing that they're noticing is Hershey's, companies like Lindt, who makes those truffle chocolatey
things. Yeah.
Like premium ice cream bar companies are saying that their sales are jumping because of something called premium treat substitution effect, which is essentially people are not snacking as much. Like when you were taking it, did you notice that you didn't have a desire to eat as much as you used to?
Yes, exactly. That's what I found beneficial was it turned off my psychological desires. One of the benefits still unknown of these GLP-1 drugs is they could end up being a cure for addiction.
Yeah.
Because they shut off the neurotransmitters that tell you need something.
They don't even know how it does that.
Right.
That's just a side of that was a side of it because it was originally created as a blood pressure, not blood pressure, it was a what am I thinking?
Diabetic?
It was a diabetic
drug. Diabetes medicine. Yeah.
And then they said, hey, one of the side effects is people are losing all this weight, which is actually really good in
appetite
fighting
suppressor.
diabetes. And people are losing this weight. It's an appetite suppressor. Not only that, but like you're saying, you're not even thinking about food in the same way. And
they can help people quit smoking, help people quit drugs.
There you go.
Right?
Possibly.
And that's the thing is, what's one thing about drugs and research and development, R&D, DNR, R&D, is that you never know what's going to happen. You know, for example, Viagra wasn't a dysfunction medicine.
That's right.
That was a side effect.
It was a pleasant side effect
right,
for some
for a lot of people. You never know what's. It may also be a cure for this. There's one drug I see.
That story was hilarious. How they discovered that.
Right. 4 hours. 4 hours. That's not a good idea.
All these older men were on a test case for this blood pressure thing. And at the end of the test phase, they said, hey, can we have those drugs back? And none of them wanted to give it back. They said,
actually, do you mind if I keep these?
They did. That's what they asked. They said, well, why do you want to keep them? They said, well, I'll be honest with you. My wife really likes that I have this ability now.
There's a pleasant side effect.
There's a pleasant side effect. And I said, what is the side effect? And then they were like, wait a minute. Let's make some money.
Now we got to market.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. It's like, it's all the best drugs are all side effects. And then they figure out the side effects. They go like, hey, why don't we pivot?
Yeah, but isn't that scary a little bit?
Of course.
It's
like that shoe company that turned into an AI company.
Right. We had no idea.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, you have a company that's now you're trying to help diabetes, and now you're worrying about.
Right. And now you're the number one weight loss drug on the planet. And everybody's racing to develop their own strain, brand, formula.
And I wonder, I think you're right, though. I wonder, has enough time passed where people know what this is going to do to you long term, aside from making you skinny and give you bad breath?
Look what we figured out with how great plastic was. And how wonderful microwaves were. And all these different, time savers and efficient things and blah, blah, blah. Never realized that everything we did in the 60s and 70s to speed life along.
Yeah.
All it did was speed up the end.
Yeah.
That's all it sped up.
Now, there's fish in the bottom of the ocean that have plastic in
Half
them
of them are
for their entire life.
Yes.
Because we have plastic everywhere.
Everywhere and everything.
And skinny fish. We're going to have skinny fish. There's going to be so much Ozempic going down the toilet.
We already have cocaine fish and salmon. Remember that story last week?
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. We live in a crazy world.
So it's your breath, folks.
Yeah, watch your breath. Helping us make sense next, Jason Rance is going to join us. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
At the Boy Scouts of America, our oath remains. A scout pledges to be kind, helpful, and brave. We're committed to providing a safe and welcoming environment where scouts can establish the foundations of character that will last a lifetime. Our approach ensures the Boy Scouts of America is building the youth of today into the leaders we'll turn to tomorrow. The Boy Scouts of America. Building character is in our nature. Visit scouting.org to learn more about scouting.
Don't wait. Insulate. Last year, American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $2 million in insulation rebates from PSE, more than any provider in the state. If your home was built before 1990, you're eligible for recouping up to 95% of insulation replacement costs. Insulate with American Crawl Space and keep your home warm during the winter and cool during the summer.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
This is Ricky Rubio, point guard for the Phoenix Suns.
And I'm Holly Robinson Peete, actor and along with Ricky, ambassador for Delivering Jobs. We know that a job is empowering and instills confidence. Yet 81% of adults with developmental differences don't have a paid job, even though companies that employ people with differences report better morale and higher productivity.
There are 6.5 million people in the U.S. with an intellectual or developmental difference such as autism.
And now, Thanks to Autism Speaks, Best Buddies, the Hollyride Foundation, and Special Olympics, there has never been more opportunity to improve hiring practices and build a more inclusive workforce. Join me, Ricky Rubio, and these amazing organizations in supporting and creating pathways to 1 million employment and leadership opportunities for this talented community.
Visit deliveringjobs.org to learn more.
That's deliveringjobs.org.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump says he has signed an executive order to expand access to retirement savings accounts for millions of Americans. He says starting next year, Americans will be able to go to TrumpIRA.gov and open a low-cost IRA account.
The House voted to fund much of
a 25-year-old who is eligible for a Savers Match program invest just $165 a month under the matching federal contributions. They will have an estimated $465,000 in their account by the time they're 65 years old. In other words, they'll be rich.
Headed to President Trump is a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security, bringing to an end a record-long partial government shutdown that led to long lines at airports. CBS's Allison Keyes with more.
The House voted to fund much of the DHS, but not its immigration enforcement operations. The measure will fund key agencies, including the TSA and FEMA, through the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. But ICE and Border Patrol are excluded from the deal.
Spotify is introducing verified artist badges to help distinguish between real human artists and AI on its platform. CBS News tech contributor Ian Schur explains.
Over the past year, AI artists, as they're increasingly called, have become rather popular on streaming sites, including now a number of songs that have become chart toppers across categories. As these AI artists have taken off, the key question has been, how do we make sure that people know what they're listening to? And that is where Spotify seems to be stepping in.
CBS's Jim Krasula reports on a legal challenge to what's considered the strictest law of its kind in the nation.
6 transgender Idaho residents are suing the state over its new bathroom ban, set to become law in July. It penalizes people for using bathrooms that don't match their sex assigned at birth, even in private businesses. Violators face jail or prison time.
Congress extends a key U.S. surveillance program through June 12th as lawmakers work toward a long-term deal. The voyage home has been authorized for an American aircraft carrier after an unusually long time at sea. Details from CBS News military consultant Jeff McCausland.
The Ford and his crew have been involved not only in the ongoing war with Iran, but also an extended patrol in the Mediterranean, following a return to the Caribbean to conduct interdiction operations against alleged drug boats from Venezuela and the subsequent operation to remove Nicolas Maduro.
The first direct U.S.-Venezuela commercial flight in 7 years lands in Caracas. The flight was operated by Envoy Air, a subsidiary of American Airlines. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world. I'm Tony. There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers. How are you? I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
Coming up, some big names in Silicon Valley could be eyeing the Seahawks. That's after Nate Connors at the traffic desk.
All right, that collision up in Bothell has cleared South 405 at 522, but we still got a backup between Damson Road and 527 now. Linwood to Bellevue plan on 25 minutes, still a 10-minute delay. Linwood to Seattle in comparison, just 20 minutes. You're all clear until you hit the U District, and then from there, it's pretty crowded all the way down to I-90. It's a half hour through downtown on North 5. Your scattered backups start at the Michigan Curve across the Ship Canal Bridge. If you're heading through Renton, South 405, your scattered backups start in South Bellevue all the way to the Renton Landing. Bellevue to Renton's at 20 minutes. North 405, you're slow from South Center through the Renton S-curves. Southbound 167, we're filling in the south end between Pacific and Puyallup. And a heads up, over Tiger Mountain tonight at 9 p.m., all lanes of westbound 18 will shut down between I-90 and Issaquah Hobart Road for pavement work. And this will be closed through the weekend, reopening early Monday morning. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. Some of the first names are emerging in the race to buy the Seattle Seahawks. Front Office Sports reports Apple CEO Tim Cook and Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg are among the potential bidders. Who else might be in the market for the Hawks? Here's Mike Salk with 710 Seattle Sports.
I was sort of told to look at people that had tried to buy other teams and gotten all the way through the vetting process, but lost out to another bidder, and to go to Denver and to Buffalo and to Washington and kind of look through some of those folks.
The team officially went up for sale in February. High-profile murder trial got underway in Seattle today. Ashton LaFalle is standing trial for killing Devon Pickett Jr. in 2022. First, the court must decide if he is competent to stand trial. LaFalle's defense attorney insists he is not.
We can't rationally assist this man at this time, and so we're asking for a finding by preponderance that he is not competent to stand trial.
Prosecutors say LaFalle can be mentally ill and still be competent. The trial is expected to continue into next week. A prison inmate was mistakenly released last week, and KIRO News Radio's Frank Lindsay reports his freedom was short-lived.
The same day, the 52-year-old who was serving time for a 2014 burglary at a Kitsap County firearms dealer and for his involvement in an officer-involved shooting in Jefferson County while trying to get away from police was picked up on April 22nd, the same day he got out.
Hands out! Hands up!
According to the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office, the Department of Corrections said he had claimed that he would shoot it out with law enforcement if they tried to arrest him. Well, that did not happen when they surrounded him in Bremerton. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
State crews are about to take to the skies to attack an invasive threat. Spongy moth treatments begin next week in parts of King and Pierce counties. The Department of Agriculture says low-flying planes will spray hundreds of acres using a natural bacteria to target the moths. They are known to devastate forests, stripping trees bare, damaging parks, and costing millions to control once they spread. Your weather update now. High clouds, but lots of sunshine as well, and highs today in the low 70s. Right now, 65 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Great hour ahead for you. We're going to start off with a guest. We'd love to have him. Jason Rantz from Seattle Red 770 joins us, the Jason Rantz Show. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you. There's a couple stories we want to talk about, a couple of court decisions that are interesting. Let's start with the bill that was passed this last legislative session and then signed into law regarding Washington sheriffs and a committee's ability to, an unelected committee appointed by the governor, who would have the ability to say, hey, we are deciding that this duly elected sheriff is not fit to serve and we're removing him. What just happened in a court case? That was being challenged. What happened?
It was being challenged by a group of sheriffs, and the sheriffs won. It was tossed almost entirely. A judge in Thurston County said, this is very clearly unconstitutional. It's not going to survive any kind of constitutional scrutiny because the voters get to decide whether or not a sheriff stays or goes, or any elected official stays or goes. You have mechanisms for that. You can do a recall. You can boot the person from office if you don't like them. But to give this power to shift it over to an unelected group of appointees from politicians, obviously doesn't actually work. The only piece of this law, and it's somewhat ironic, that does stay is if you're an appointed sheriff, the legislation will still cover that person. So ironically, that only then applies to King County, where voters decided we don't want to have the power to go ahead and allow for elected officials.
So
elected sheriffs, excuse me.
So Jason, you said that if you can boot a guy from office, but how is that different than what the law is intending to do?
The law took the voters completely out of it. You don't even have to have broken a law.
Well, hold on, because I'm on the other side of this issue from you guys, I think. So Jake and I have talked about this numerous times.
That's fair to say.
It's the first time you've ever been wrong, I'm sure.
Well, I better get used to it. That's all I know. So my question is this unelected board, and I understand that the concerns about that, but hopefully it's a board consisting of some law enforcement officers and
appointed by the party in power.
Okay, yeah, but
in this case, the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission.
Okay,
yeah,
and they're going to review the standards of these elected sheriffs as well as appointed sheriffs, and they're going to review for conduct or policy violations or adherence to, and they'll decide if someone loses their certification, and which is their grounds, they say, for removing them from office.
Yeah, and it's unconstitutional.
Well, see, I have no problem removing someone from office if they can't meet the standards of the office.
But that's not what this is, just to be clear, because it's way further than that. You already have to have certification in order to hold these positions. It's just not the same standard. So, for example, and this was clearly, there were parts of this were written specifically with Keith Swank in mind. You could have a quote-unquote association with who they determine this board is an extremist, and that association, whatever that even means, would be enough for you to get booted from an elected office.
So they decertify you first. So the CJ,
the end,
TC,
yes, the end goal though
decertifies
is
you and then
to
kicks you
remove
out.
Exactly.
Because right now they have the power. Before this bill passed, they had the power to decertify, but they
can still do that, but they can't remove you from office.
But they can't remove you from office. That is up to the voters who put you in office,
which is how it's supposed to be for elected officials.
But they can still do it if you're an appointed official.
An appointed sheriff. There's only one appointed sheriff in this state,
King County.
So they for association they can make this decision. Everybody. So an elected official has better protection for the job than an appointed, for the same conduct by the same standards, same guidelines. Am I understanding it correctly?
Correct. By design. Again, it's the same thing with any other elected official.
So I get. You're right. I get it. See, here's my issue. If someone violates the requirements of their job, they should be allowed to be removed, whether they're elected or not.
They are allowed to be removed. You can recall someone if you believe that their conduct rises to the standards of a recall.
If someone someone rises to the level of recall, do they then serve until that recall election? Are they suspended from their job? Are they
they go through. No, that's not how it currently works. Again, nor how it should. Right? I mean, take away the sheriff piece for this. Let's just say it's a local lawmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I think so-and-so should be recalled. And that's enough to just remove them from their office in the interim?
Like for instance, Bob Ferguson recently, because he hadn't appointed these two oversight positions, somebody started a recall petition. It didn't rise to the level of him actually being recalled.
Yeah, but that's okay, from that perspective. I understand and hear what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. But if someone has violated their oath of office or the requirements of their job, they've clearly violated those requirements of their job. They get to stay in that chair until a recall election is held?
Yeah, that's how it works in every instance of a recall. Every single instance of a recall.
So that's across the board. So this.
Yeah, and again, because we're talking specific about sheriffs in this case, but this is how it works.
So let's say somebody is elected for state senate. That would be the same process.
Exactly the same scenario. Exactly the same.
So what the Pierce County, it was Thurston County, right? Thurston County
judge. It was in Thurston County because that's where the laws were. It was Olympia. So
they moved it from the east side.
So this was a really big story. This was a very controversial bill. We talked about it here on the show. We had John Lovick on the show at the time, and he was the primary sponsor of the bill, a former Snohomish County sheriff himself. And what's the reaction now that this thing has effectively been gutted? Does that mean it goes away forever, or are they still fighting this to make this law?
They could appeal. They say they're going to appeal. Again, no serious legal person says that this is going to survive. And Democrats kind of sort of tipped their hat on that too. They understood that this was going to be challenged.
Why do you think then that this was such a big discussion in this short recent legislative session? If Democrats knew that this was going to be shut down the second it became law, Why would they spend, which actually I feel like is kind of a theme for this last legislative session. Like we're talking about the millionaire's tax. That's actually an income tax. We had Rob McKenna, a former AG, on the show the other day, and he was saying, like, listen, there's just, based on our current laws and our Constitution, there's no way this bears scrutiny and will not go into effect. Why are they putting these things forward if they're just going to end up getting shut down in court?
Because they hope to get in front of a judge that allows it to go through and then essentially rewrites the Constitution.
So in Washington State, for instance, there's like 5 of 9 state Supreme Court judges are going to be new judges. Is that right, coming up? And so are they hoping that by the time the income tax debate makes it to them, they have new favorable judges in those positions?
Yes.
So this decision in Thurston County to put a stay on this law while it's until it's challenged, and they'll see
until it goes through the full
process. So the state solicitor general, Noah Purcell, says that these 4 sheriffs who brought this lawsuit have a misunderstanding of the statute. To quote him, he says, all the plaintiff sheriffs are currently certified by the Criminal Justice Training Commission. They're currently certified under the exact standards that they're saying they can't possibly comply with. Is he wrong?
He is wrong.
How so?
Because it's not the exact same standards. It's well beyond that, and because it completely takes the voters out of the position.
Okay.
That's why. Noah Purcell is arguing something that's not actually being argued. That's his, and that's why he lost in court. I mean, that's why the judge rejected this. Now, the judge yesterday did something like a 40-minute dissertation at the bench explaining why this is so clearly unconstitutional.
You've spoken to Sheriff Swank. And so when I hear Sheriff Swank of Pierce County say something, Pierce County, say that, I'm not going to comply with this state law that was passed regarding, say, masks, says he's not going to comply with that law. How does the sheriff get to keep his job? Maybe it's just till a recall election or the next election cycle.
Can you tell the audience what the mask one is you're talking about?
So the state of Washington passed a law that said law enforcement officers are not allowed to cover their faces when performance of their duties. It's not the federal ICE agents. We're talking about local law enforcement officers.
Well, it's every officer.
It is, but we're talking
specifically
talking about
local,
his job working for the state of Washington. State of Washington passed the law that says you can't cover your face. Keith Swank says, I'm not going to comply with that law. How's that not grounds for termination? If you decide
you can't terminate an elected position.
Okay, so
that's how.
So that he would be recalled then if he decides to follow through on that threat to disobey
only
the
if
state
his
law.
voters choose to recall.
Yeah, I mean, someone would have to come forward.
That's where I'm going with
who's
this.
a voter.
That's where I'm going with this. So if he fails to comply with state law, the voters should still be allowed to vote him in to keep him in office. He should be allowed to violate state law.
If the voters want him to violate state law, then yes. I mean,
that's crazy.
But it happens every single day, and it's not even just Sheriff Swank. I mean, especially when it comes to law enforcement, they have great discretion in which laws they're actually enforcing, which is why you can go down. You can go down to downtown right now and see a bunch of people openly smoking fentanyl in front of cops and not getting arrested. Why is that?
I'm holding the Pierce County Sheriff to a higher standard.
Okay, but do you hold the police chief of Seattle to a higher standard?
Sure.
Okay, but that's my point is they are making a choice because of the discretion that they have to not actually enforce certain laws. They have been able to make that. Now, if that were an elected position for Seattle police chief as a constituent in Seattle, and I don't like that, and he was elected, I can go ahead and start a recall.
But he's not elected.
Correct.
So he would then be subject to...
He could be fired for this.
For the mayor.
Yeah.
The mayor in this case would be somebody...
I don't think it... I mean, maybe I'm crazy. I don't think a sheriff should get to pick which laws they enforce and don't enforce.
Should state lawmakers get to pass bills that are unconstitutional? It's a trick question in a way, but you would probably say no. If it's unconstitutional, then of course they shouldn't, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like let's just say it's objective. Okay, well, a judge has said this is objectively unconstitutional. Let's say it goes through the entire process.
This board, review board.
No, this judge.
Yeah.
This judge.
They say that this board
this law
removing elected
is
officials
unconstitutional.
Yeah,
so let's say it even makes it to the Washington State Supreme Court, and they say, yeah, this is obviously unconstitutional. Should the elected Democrats who all voted for this, should they stay in office? Should they be removed immediately? They passed something that was unconstitutional.
If they
using your argument,
if they continue to pursue that policy,
no, that's not what you said. You said if someone's refusing to follow a law, if someone's breaking the law, essentially, they should be removed. Okay, fair enough, and that's an argument that I think is a valid one if the voters agree with that. So I'm putting that now on the lawmakers. They're passing something that's unconstitutional. It's determined to be objectively unconstitutional. It goes all the way through. Should those lawmakers be booted from office from, I guess, the courts?
Not if they comply with the judge's decision that it's unconstitutional and the law is removed. They tried,
but they did something that was unconstitutional.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this: Keith Swank says, "I'm not going to enforce this law," and then the state says you have to, but the voters say we don't care. We're going to keep him office.
Yeah, the voters get to do that.
Does he get to keep denying the Constitution? The state legislators should lose their job.
If the voters want that, then yes.
So those Democratic legislators who try to pass an unconstitutional law, if their voters keep voting them back in, should they be allowed to stay?
Yes, that's my point. Yeah, you're nuts.
No, I'm not nuts.
I love you on that one, but you're nuts on that. That's how elections work. Yes, that's how elected officials get to stay in office. I obviously can't stand certain people in office.
If voters say, I want a guy who's going to murder people, who's going to shoot people in the street without due process, I'm going to vote that guy in. Should that guy be allowed to do that because he was voted in?
Well, he's going to be in jail for murdering
if he's breaking
people.
a law, he can be charged.
So if Keith Swank decides he's not going to enforce a mask mandate, should he be charged with a crime?
What crime would he be charged with? I suppose, like, what would be... So there's a difference between federal law, misdemeanors, and felony.
If the state says... my state says a law...
He would have to be charged, right?
Should he be?
Not in this case, no.
If he decides I'm going to mask up and go out in the streets and do my job in a mask.
No, I don't think we should be putting people in jail for wearing masks, despite the fact that Democrats wanted to put people in jail
you get to choose
for not wearing masks just a few years ago.
Choose what laws you follow and what you don't.
That's what happens now. that is the reality now. It's true.
We did just have, to be fair, like a lot of debates with Democrats. We had Jamie Peterson on the show. There was a great segment just like a week ago. He came on with Chi and Ursula, and he was talking about his push for the millionaires tax.
Yeah, you're too dumb if you don't agree with him.
Yeah, and he basically just said, like, well, just don't get it. And everyone else is like, and G, awesomely, was like, are you telling me that I don't understand this? That that's your justification for doing something that's unconstitutional? Totally changed his mind on it. Then he said, I was all for it before, and now it's a hard no for me. Jamie Peterson, if he's doing something unconstitutional and it's ruled unconstitutional, you're saying he should be removed from office?
Well, if he goes, they want it to go before the Supreme Court. The Washington Democrats want it to go before the Supreme Court.
Yes.
If it's changed, then it's not unconstitutional anymore. Right?
Then he hasn't broken any laws, you're saying?
Yeah.
So then he would, but if they do rule that it is unconstitutional, then you're saying he should be removed from office.
If they rule it unconstitutional, they'll stop enforcing the tax.
How about the voters just get to decide all of this? Because
I think
these are
I'm with you
elected
there.
positions. Well, you just argued against it for the last 20 minutes.
No, you're talking about voters changing policy. Not voters
judging
giving,
lawmakers or elected officials is what I'm saying.
Okay, but voting someone's the permission to break the law. I just can't wrap my head around that.
Can we talk really quick also about speaking of judges and courts, voting rights? How does this is a big news, Supreme Court 6-3 decision, Voting Rights Act. What is this going to mean in Washington State? Like, give it very quickly. Can you explain, Jason, what happened, and then how does this affect Washington State?
I don't know how it affects Washington yet, but what the Supreme Court essentially said was the Voting Rights Act does not give lawmakers or local officials the right to redraw districts solely based on racial reasons, solely based for the intent of delivering some kind of specific representation based on percentages. You can't make moves that are inclined or supposed to benefit someone on the basis of race. That's never what the Voting Rights Act was about. In Louisiana, which was the case that they were looking at, made it obvious. They said, the only reason we're doing this is because we want a second majority black district. And the way that they had drawn this map was, no one looked at this map and said that this is like natural. They were going from cities that were hundreds of miles apart based solely on the black population, and they redrew this like weird...
With weird connective...
It made no sense whatsoever. Like, everyone could look at this and say...
that looks different.
And the reason why it was so obvious was they said it was done solely for racial representation. And the court said, yeah, that's not what the Voting Rights Act allows for. So if you have other maps, or other districts, I should say, that were drawn specifically with in mind for racial representation, those in theory are gone. And we have 2, maybe 3 in mind in Washington at a local level, in which when they were recently redrawn, the argument that the left made was we want better representation of minority voters.
Well, if I heard the argument, a third of Georgia voters are African American, shouldn't a third of representation in the House of Representatives?
No, that's what they clearly reject, and that's nowhere to be found in the Voting Rights Act. This idea that you're supposed to get the percentage of the population's racial makeup to identify with the racial makeup of the lawmakers.
But it's okay to split. Say there's a core of Democrats, and they split them. They cut that pie, say the center of a pie, and cut it in 6 different districts to eliminate those people and take away all their power. Yeah.
Yes, that is legal.
Yeah.
Or Republicans. I mean, that's what they did in Virginia and in California. On the reverse side, that's kind of what they did in Texas and Florida.
So they say it's okay to redistrict for political reasons, but not racial reasons.
According to the Voting Rights Act, that's what they're arguing, and they're right. And that this was not a controversial position years ago. In fact, you don't have to go that long ago. I think it was Elena Kagan who had actually was the majority opinion author on something that basically said exactly the same thing, although it was arguing on the political side, not the racial side.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. And we don't know yet how it plays out in Washington, but we'll find out.
It's possible that it impacts certainly central Washington. You had one map that was completely changed. They argued that we're making it so that there's more Latino voters, and because they're really clear about what they were doing, they ended up booting from office a Latina woman who just happened to be a Republican who represented that district. And so they made it more democratic. Wow. That's a way that they're probably going to get around it, is they're going to say that this was actually to do for better Democrat representation.
Is this gerrymandering war good for America?
Generally, no.
Yeah, I mean, you get to
Simple
pick
answer.
your voters. As opposed to the voters picking the politicians are picking their voters.
There is it depends on the circumstances. So I'll give you an example. What's going on in Florida, I think, is a lot different than what's been going on elsewhere. Texas, to a degree, but certainly different than Virginia and California.
Because they put it to a public vote?
No, because the reason behind it, you can actually point to and say, and Florida, this is a crystal clear case. You've had many, many, many people moving to Florida, and so it's actually changed the ideological demographics.
But that happens all the time. Why don't you do it every 10 years?
If you want to make that argument, totally. Yeah. If you want to make that argument, I think that that's a fair one, and I think that that's fair across the board, regardless of who's in power.
When the president says, "I need more seats," redraw the map to get us more seats. That doesn't seem like right or good for America.
In Texas, what they did was legal. In Virginia, we don't know yet. I find it hard to believe that the Supreme Court in Virginia is going to overturn a vote. But I mean, up until this point, judges have said what Virginia did was illegal.
What Florida's trying to do is against their Constitution.
It's not against their Constitution, which is
that's your interpretation. I've seen very smart people say the difference.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I think they have a better argument than Virginia, Texas, or California.
Fun legal talk. Jason Rance, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. We got a lot more coming up. Stick around. Crazy mayoral race happening in LA right now. We're going to talk a little bit about it.
I know, right?
Stick around. We'll be right back.
I can't wait.
And everybody is up, pulling for the big unit to do it. With his brand, with his K. 1-2 pitch on the way. Swing and a miss, and it's over. And he did it. He put it right on the rump of the old steer and burned her right in there.
It's the Big Unit's big weekend when the Mariners retire Randy Johnson's number 51 at T-Mobile Park. Congratulations, Randy, from a grateful city and the station that broadcasts every Mariners game you ever pitched. KIRO News Radio.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group.
This is the story of Julie Guillot. She's a Leukemia and Lymphoma Society advocate and the mother of a child who battled blood cancer.
Zach was diagnosed with AML, a deadly leukemia, when he was only 5. While the treatment really attacked the cancer, unfortunately, it also attacked his body. Uncontrollable fevers, terrible nosebleeds, and his skin was burned from the inside out. He died at just 9 years old, really from the treatment that was meant to save him.
The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society was founded 70 years ago by parents who also lost their child to cancer. Today, we're pioneering breakthrough treatments for kids with cancer.
We are so close to finding better treatments for kids with cancer. So it's too late to save Zach, but working together, we can save thousands of kids just like him.
Visit LLS.org and save a child's life.
Every year, 4.5 million young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 visit the ER.
It's every parent's nightmare.
Umergency gives you all the tools you need to quickly and effectively manage your family's emergency. Umergency provides instant access to vital resources, customized to your student's campus and local community, digital consent form, and built-in urgent alert button. Umergency gives you peace of mind when you need it most. Download your Umergency app now.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
KIRO Newsradio. Breaking news.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granello. We are following a stabbing at Foss High School in Tacoma. Reports of multiple victims. KIRO News Radio's Frank Lindsay just got an update from first responders and joins us live in studio.
Aaron, Tacoma Fire Department tells me this started around 1:40. That's when they started getting reports of this incident at Foss High School. At this point, they have confirmed 6 people stabbed, 4 of them in serious condition. And the fire department also says they are checking the entire school right now to make sure there aren't any other victims. What we don't know yet is if these were students or adults or a combination thereof. Also not sure who's responsible. Tacoma Police is investigating. Obviously, we're trying to get a hold of them to get some of these details that we haven't been given as of yet. And we also don't know what led up to this. But again, what we do know, 6 people stabbed at Foss High School in Tacoma, 4 of them in serious condition. Aaron?
All right, thank you, Frank. And we do have a reporter on the way to Foss High. We will keep you updated as we learn more. Tragic news out of Auburn, where a 2-year-old girl has now died after a single car crash in the Lee Hill neighborhood on Monday night. Auburn police said the driver was arrested on suspicion of DUI. 2 children, ages 2 and 8, were in that car, airlifted to Harborview Medical Center. Again, the 2-year-old did not survive. Police said the driver did not appear to be significantly hurt, but she is now facing vehicular homicide and vehicular assault charges. Seattle aviation attorney Mark Lindquist files another lawsuit against another airline for another passenger injured on their watch. KIRO Radio's James Lynch has details.
Lindquist says the latest lawsuit involves a Delta Airlines international flight from Cancun to Seattle in 2024. After the plane touched down at SEA, fire broke out. As smoke filled the cabin, passengers took the escape chutes, and the 61-year-old woman severely injured her back.
Under the Montreal Convention, which governs international flights such as this, the airline is liable for any accident, even when there isn't negligence or recklessness.
Lindquist says he expects the case to be settled out of court. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
President Trump says he has no problem with Iran playing in this summer's World Cup, including at a match scheduled for Seattle. Speaking from the Oval Office today, the president says he's on board with FIFA President Gianni Infantino.
You know what? Let him play well. Johnny's fantastic. He's a friend of mine, and he talked about it.
I said, you do whatever you want.
And Infantino reiterated today that Iran will play its matches in the U.S. The country faces Egypt at Lumen Field on June 26th. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:33. Here's Nate Connors.
Thanks, Aaron. And this just coming into the newsroom in Columbia City. Police activity as all southbound lanes of MLK Jr. Way shut down at South Columbian Way. Early reports suggest this might be related to a drive-by shooting. We will continue to monitor this and give you all the updates. North 5 through Seattle is expected jam-packed just before the West Seattle Bridge to I-90. You catch a little break, and then it packed again between Mercer and the Ship Canal Bridge. Plan on 35 minutes to get through this, but once you do, you're in the clear all the way up to that Linwood interchange. South 5, stop and go from the U District to I-90. Over in Renton, heading that way, South 405 is solid from South Bellevue all the way to the Renton Landing. Bellevue to Renton, though, is at 20 minutes, which means you're close to freeway speeds through most of this. North 405, heavy from South Center through the Renton S-curves. We're up to 25 minutes between South Center and Bellevue. Seattle to Federal Way is a half-hour commute. You're slowing from 405 to 516. And southbound 167 is now bumper to bumper between Algona and Sumner. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Thank you, Frank. Nate, my fault. Your forecast now. Looking at sunny skies and a mix of clouds as well, and highs today in the low 70s. Right now, 67 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. A lot of stuff happening all around the world. You know what's interesting? This is I'm only putting this together right as we're about to talk about it. I have seen a lot of stories that we have covered recently. We have our own new mayor here in Seattle, Katie Wilson. She's never had a job like this before, so she's new to the job.
Sure. Yeah.
She's a socialist, which is an interesting thing. How will that impact Seattle's long-term viability? All those questions. We're talking about it all the time. Mamdani in New York, another mayor, kind of an interesting figure, kind of comes out of nowhere, gets elected, beats a lot of establishment people for the job. And now down in Los Angeles, you have another mayoral candidate who's kind of coming out of nowhere, although he was well known, but not in politics, who's now running and is not the favorite right now, but I will say is coming on strong. And I would be very interested in seeing how this turns out. I actually think he's got a real shot at winning down in Los Angeles. And I'm speaking about a guy named Spencer Pratt.
Where do I know that name from?
Well, you know the name because he was on a show called The Hills.
I know.
You know the name, yeah. Spencer Pratt is a former reality TV star, and he's married to, her name was Heidi Montag, I think is his wife's, is that his wife's name?
Yeah.
She's now Heidi
blonde.
Pratt, obviously, but she was she the villain on The Hills? Kind of a...
Oh, Spencer was the villain.
Spencer was the villain.
Took her away from her friend group.
She was part of the main
bad
group.
Boyfriend.
Cut her from the herd. That's
Yeah.
how you get them.
Okay. Yeah, you got to separate.
Sure.
So they are now living in Los Angeles and have been for a long time. They were living in the Palisades. He grew up apparently in the Palisades. His parents still live in the Palisades, or did until their house burned down, or his mom did. And so he loses a house in the Palisades fire. He then gets online documenting just kind of the crazy atmosphere following the Palisades fire and gains quite a following, documenting these things and talking about how, man, look at this. They're not doing anything to actually rebuild these homes. This is a disaster. Leadership is a disaster. And so he tosses his hat in the ring. He says, I'm going to run for office. I'm going to clean up this mess. And he has now outraised current mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, and I believe is one of the top two candidates right now in that race. In the mayoral race.
Yeah.
And the question is, does he have what it takes to win? Now, he's very good on social media, which helps, as Mamdani is an obvious example.
One of Mamdani's main attributes was his likability, his ability to interact with the citizens of New York.
Yes.
His social media presence was brilliant.
Yep.
By all accounts. But does he have the wherewithal to lead and to run a city of that size?
That's the question.
And the same questions should and could be asked of Spencer Pratt.
I mean, New York is got to be, that's the biggest, is it the biggest city or is LA? It's always, it's like 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think New York's bigger, LA's 2. I think in market size, New York, LA.
So it's New York and LA.
I believe so.
And I mean, these are very important jobs. However, if you look at the current state of LA, everything seems to be run pretty poorly. So how much worse could it be for somebody who doesn't have a long history in politics? I don't know that it could be worse.
That's quite a gamble to take, though, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure it's been done other places. We want an outsider, somebody's not a career politician.
I don't think it's a gamble. I think it's a gamble to do things the same way they've been going when you have a city who's brought to its knees.
Well, I agree with that. To keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting results, isn't the definition of insanity.
So try
but
someone else.
There's somebody with political experience who's got different ideological priorities, a different idea of how things should be done to be successful. I mean, I just think it's a big risk to take for the mayor of Seattle now with no experience. It's a hell of a risk to take.
Yeah.
And because Spencer Pratt is media savvy and he knows how to, it's a brilliant ad campaign.
Yep.
His marketing is brilliant. Does that mean he's got the goods to run a city the size of LA with the problems LA faces?
Here's the interesting thing. I would have thought you were completely right like a month ago until I started watching some interviews with him. I have family down. I have a family member who lost a house in the Palisades fire.
So it literally affects your family. The Sacramento selection is not just something you're curiously looking at. You've got family in the game.
I've got family, and we've got a little skin in the game. And so I've been watching this guy do these media interviews, and he is not just savvy online.
Okay.
He actually seems to know what he's talking about when it comes to trying to root out the corruption that has become just almost the biggest thing in Los Angeles. And the amount of waste and fraud and abuse that's happening down there that just gets completely ignored. I don't see how that's a sustainable path for Los Angeles. Like, what is the number of in the multi billions, like way more than in King County, that they have spent on the homeless problem that has just skyrocketed. And you start digging into where that money's actually going. If you don't have people in leadership who are willing to address those issues, even if they're long-standing politicians, I actually think a long-standing politician these days almost works against you.
I think you're right. Because we're dissatisfied with pox on both their houses. We're dissatisfied with everybody.
100%.
Yeah.
So you almost want to see some outsider come in and go, hey, you know what? I'm going to shake things up a little bit and shake some apples loose from this tree, some rotten apples, because it's gotten pretty bad.
Do you run the risk, though, that they're going to get this guy, if he gets elected, if he becomes the mayor of L.A., is it on a flash and not substance? I mean, is that concern?
No, because I think the only way he gets elected is because of substance. I don't think they're going to elect somebody just because there's a lot of famous people in Los Angeles. I don't think they really care about Spencer Pratt. I think the only reason that he's going to possibly get elected is because he's speaking to something that people are really feeling.
The flash gets him the attention. He still has to deliver on message.
He still has to deliver on message. I'm going to play you an ad that he just came out with that has gotten mega viral, and it's a very, very good ad. And the visuals of this ad, he describes it here. He's standing in front of the current mayor's residence, one of the other challengers, who is a socialist, just like Katie Wilson and Mom Donnie, in front of her $3 million house. And then he goes downtown, and he's walking around downtown amongst you can't even walk. You think Seattle's bad? Go look at LA. It's crazy. And he's walking around saying, like, these people don't have to deal with these problems. They don't care. And then he cuts to his house, which has been burnt down in the fire. And where he's currently staying is in a trailer parked on his lot because they tried to challenge his ability to even run because he had temporarily had to leave his property, which was burnt down. So he moved the trailer back to his property, so he was inside the limitations of you have to live inside the city to run.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm going to play this ad. Tell me what you think of it.
This is where Mayor Bass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nikki Raman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor. For my sons and the rest of us Angelinos that want to stop these corrupt politicians from destroying our city. We are going to get the golden age of Los Angeles back.
I mean, just millions and millions of views. And here's what I would say. I understand. I think you have a valid point, somebody who's an outsider coming in who's not been in politics.
Right.
But I really do truly believe that works against somebody because they just become ingrained in the bureaucratic, slow nature of getting things done. Los Angeles, like Seattle, will in a few years. I mean, Seattle's there right now, but they elected Katie Wilson, so you get what you get. These cities need dramatic help now, and they need people who are willing to come in who are not battling against 10 years of having spent time working inside a slow system, who instead come in and say, you know what, I'm willing to break the rules a little bit. Not actually, but you'll get what I mean. I'm willing to break some skulls and actually clean things up, even if it's not good for the powers that currently are there.
Is that a realistic promise to make, though? I mean, it's one thing to say you're right. It's a broken system. It's failed us.
What's the alternative?
Knowing how to work within the system and maybe make corrections in the system that aren't working?
All the people that are running are the same people who run it now. And they're burning to the ground, and they're surrounded by drugs and violence on the streets.
Yeah, but see, that whole thing about it's not the mayor of LA's fault that fire burned down Palisades.
We could talk more about it.
Come on. I mean, okay, yeah.
Bears no responsibility?
I didn't say she bears no responsibility, but you talk about, drought conditions and wind conditions that no political system could have prevented the disaster that was the Palisades fire.
I 100% disagree with you.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
I disagree. All right, we'll see what happens. You and I are not voters in LA, so
I might move down. I might park a trailer on somebody's lot so I can vote against this guy. No,
there you go. There you go. All right. We'll keep watching that one. That'll be interesting. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Charlie Hart.
And I'm Amanda Factor. Will we set another all-time record overnight?
We'll have the latest on how the war in Iran is affecting the price at the pump.
Mariners back home after a very successful road trip back to 500.
And Rick Riz joins us with a preview of the series against the Royals.
Paul Holden has your weekend planner.
And Sully with traffic every 10 minutes.
Join us tomorrow, 5 to 9 on Seattle's Morning News.
We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Folks, if the rainy season took its toll on your home or maybe even made its way inside, it's time to get your roof looked at or maybe even repaired, replaced, restored. Call my friends at Integrity Roofing and Construction at 206-202-ROOF. You can go online to integrityrc.com and book a free roof assessment or video inspection today. They've got years of experience in roofing and restoration. They've got a complete design team in-house. They can do the job and do the job right. The phone number is 206-202-ROOF, and they're online at integrityrc.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Do you ever lose your balance or feel dizzy for no apparent reason? Do you hear ringing in your ears or have migraines? These are all signs you could have a problem with your inner ear or vestibular system. To learn more, call the Vestibular Disorders Helpline at 800-837-8428. That's 800-837-8428. Sponsored by the Vestibular Disorders Association.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The nicotine in e-cigarettes is addictive and can harm brain development. That's why I worry about teens who try e-cigarettes. Many young people use pod-based e-cigarettes like Juul, which have high levels of nicotine. And because teens' brains are still developing, they can quickly become addicted. The tobacco industry uses fruit and candy flavors to attract young people, often turning them into lifelong users. For more, visit healthychildren.org.
Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
Want the inside scoop on the Mariners? Sign up for Mariners Mail and 24/24/7 text to get access to exclusive pre-sales, special ticket offers, breaking news, and more. Go to mariners.com/insider and text Mariners to 24/24/7.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to get to text messages in just a second, but Frank, you got an update for us on that stabbing story.
Yeah, this is at Tacoma's Foss High School. We told you a little bit ago that 6 people were involved in this and were injured. We know now that that includes the suspect, who police believe is a student. 4 other students were hurt here, and also a security guard. This happened around 1:35 at Tacoma's Foss High School.
Perfect.
Good luck with that. You're not wrong, but good luck with that, man.
Just got to
pressure.
Draw a line in the sand.
But that's why this new law from Seattle Public Schools, a new rule, I should say, from Seattle Public Schools banning cell phones for K through 8.
Yep.
And limiting high school students with cell phone use in Seattle should be statewide. We had that poll, the national report card on cell phones for schools. Washington, one of the worst in America, with how they give kids access to phones and how dangerous that can be to youthful development.
28 other states have just fully said, nope, can't have them.
Can't have them.
Can't have them.
So Dave and Graham says, how many hours a day does your cell phone say you're on it? I got my usage once. I get it once a week, and I average between 7 and 8 hours a day on my phone. That's crazy. And Dave, you're not alone, buddy.
7 to 8 hours is a long time.
It's a long time.
Wait, that's me too. I'm 7 to 8 hours.
8 hours?
Do you know what yours is?
8 hours?
Your average?
I don't.
Well, your phone will tell you if you want to look.
I don't even want to know.
I know.
It better not be 8 hours.
Mine averages are less than 5, but it's still way too much a day.
That's
day.
too. That's
it's nuts.
Ugh. 206 says school classroom is for learning, not socializing on your phone. 100%. Absolutely.
How do you socialize on a phone?
That's the thing. Have you ever heard that thing?
Because schools are for learning and for socialization. Learning, socialization are skills kids got to have.
I don't know who said this, but it was a haunting quote. But it was talking about kids and phones. They said this generation has never been more connected and never further apart.
Yeah. Well,
doesn't that just make you feel chills?
It does. It's a Twilight Zone.
Ugh, crazy. I want to read this next one, even though I just read one. Todd Burian says, Jake, you're going to lose that battle with the phone in your kids' hands. I said earlier, I'm not going to let my kids have phones till they're adults and make that choice on their own. Todd, I'm not going to lose a battle. I appreciate your vote of confidence, but we're gonna fight that good fight.
My mom lost that battle. 360 says, when the phone rings, and this started with landlines, people respond like Pavlov's dog. The message is, even though you are here in person with me, whoever is calling me, someone not here, is more deserving of my attention.
There's a mysterious element to it, like the old phone's ringing. You're like, oh, I wonder who that could be.
Sure.
I mean,
it used to be novel.
Yeah.
Now it's a constant intrusion.
Yes. And then do you remember the first time when they had caller ID kicked on and you're like, oh, I know who that is. You're like a magician and you would pick up, you'd be like, hi, Grandma. And they go, how did you do that? And it's because of caller ID. But
now we do it with a special ringtone. My wife's ringtone is the only person in my phone that ringtone applies to.
Yeah.
So I can ignore the phone, but when that one rings, you know it cuts through. Same thing with a text. When a text from my wife comes, it's a different tone than everybody else. No one else has the direct line. That's like the red phone.
Yeah.
You know, when the missus calls or texts,
you better make sure it's a complimentary ring, though. Like something sweet.
I told you about my old partner, Bob.
Tell it again. That's funny.
So yeah, we were on the air one day with the Bob Rivers show, and Bob had left his ringer on, as you hear me radio people do that.
It happens.
And Bob's wife called the show while we were live on the air. And Bob's phone started ringing in the background. You could hear it off the mic. And it was the theme from from The Wicked Witch of the West and The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that's so funny.
And she had no idea.
She had no idea. When you go to commercial.
How did she not know that?
I don't know. Well, because
I guess you're right. You're in the same room with someone. You're not calling.
Yeah, but that's how she found out Bob's ringtone for her was the theme from The Wicked Witch of the West.
That's hilarious.
That's not what I have for my wife. Let me just say that.
Last on phones real fast. Help me get my numbers up. 888-973-5476. Text phone. I wrote an article on this today. Go to the Steve Ballmer one. This is a good one. The Seahawks possible owner.
Maureen in the 253 says, Steve Ballmer's wife says he would have to own the Seahawks with another wife.
Is that true? Did she really say that?
I looked it up before I put this text in. She said that back in 2024.
That's pretty recent to say something like that.
It's pretty confident, too. Because I know one thing I know about rich guys, they like younger models. They like an upgrade.
I'm not going to comment on that.
What do you mean upgrade?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Well,
all right, let's go to Ozempic breath. Jimmy from Kent says, we were talking about this earlier, the side effect of Ozempic GLP-1s is apparently bad breath. And they're noticing this because Hershey's has reported that their mint sales have increased 17% as a result of this. They can track these things. So Jimmy from Kent says the burps are a real thing. They only last, though, for the first few months. That's a long time to have bad breath.
Only a few months. No, that's pretty bad.
Oh.
That's what's ironic. You're getting better looking and worse smelling simultaneously. Goodfella says, excuse me, it's so gross. I drive some people to their appointments from a rural area to the city in the car with them, and they're unbearable. It's almost unbearable when they talk. Their breath is so rotten.
Oh, that's horrible. It's awful. Very awful.
Sorry.
All right, I'm waiting to recall sheriffs. Doug from Puyallup says, Spike, voters elect certain positions, such as the sheriff. It's the very definition of democracy, the same democracy the governor repeatedly says needs to be saved. Thank you, Doug.
Okay.
Fernando in Seattle says, I'm trying to understand. So if a sheriff commits a crime and is convicted, is he still the sheriff until he is recalled, or is that different?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, a guy commits a crime.
Yep.
How does he get to stay sheriff until he's the next voting, until the next election?
I mean, if that's the way the law's written, and that's the way the law's written.
They wrote the law and they challenged it.
If it's for something he posts, though, which is your First Amendment right?
That's the thing.
That's what they were trying to say. They're saying if we decide that we don't like the things that you're posting because it's unbecoming of a sheriff or whatever the language was, so doesn't that add a new thing that they're not supposed to do?
But all employers have requirements to keep and do your job.
But who's the employer? It's
state
the
of
people
Washington.
who elected them.
No, it's
not a state of Washington. It's the people who elected that position. They're the employers.
Not paying them. State's paying them.
They're paying them. It's taxpayers who are paying them. That's
You're going to have to finish this again tomorrow.
We'll try it again tomorrow. We got that. Pick one more. Spencer Pratt.
All right, Spencer Pratt, blah, 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 blah. What is it? California has a long history of voting in celebrities. Reagan, Schwarzenegger, regardless of their substance. But what if it's both? What if it's substance and celebrity?
What if he's part robot?
And what if it's a robot? All right, we got a lot more. John Curley's next. We will see you back here tomorrow. It's Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you then.
Everybody is up, pulling for the big unit to do it. With his brand, with his K. 1-2 pitch on the way, swing, and a miss, and it's over. And he did it. He put it right on the rump of the old steer and burned her right in there.
It's the big unit's big weekend when the Mariners retire Randy Johnson's number 51 at T-Mobile Park. Congratulations, Randy, from a grateful city and the station that broadcasts every Mariners game you ever pitched. KIRO News Radio.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Sometimes injuries can happen when you least expect them.
What broke my shoulder was reaching for my phone. I was trying to get the phone away from my cat.
That's how Heather tore her rotator cuff.
There was that hope. I was like, maybe this will heal on its own. And I waited a little bit, and it was not getting better.
She just couldn't take the pain anymore, so she saw Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
By the next day, my shoulder was already doing better. I have my arm back again, which was just wonderful.
Seems like she made the right choice.
I'm so glad I didn't do surgery.
So whether it's a hip like mine or a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. He's the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
I said to him at our last appointment, I was like, you better not retire because I want to know if anything else goes wrong with my body. You're there to be able to fix it because he's a miracle worker.
Getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters.
Like that family movie night your daughter can't live without. Yeah, can't do that. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/20.